Chapter 64. Looks were also a form of self-confidence. When another beautiful woman appeared, he would instinctively want to compare himself with her. Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang wrinkled their brows. However, their identities were telling them that they mustn't get angry. They were no longer the little kids that they used to be, who would start a fight whenever they didn't agree with each other. Adults had their own way of fighting, and if it really didn't work out, they would use force. However, they were completely unaware that no matter what method they used, they were unable to shake Yihua in the slightest. Everything that they did was futile, and Yihua just treated it as a bit of fun during the holidays. The thing that was truly giving Yihua a headache was the woman that was beside him. Wanting to teach her a good lesson was truly not an easy thing to do. Xiao Yi faintly asked, "Lord Zhou, what joke do you have in mind? Why don't you tell us and let everyone laugh?" Lord Zhou's heart sank. Was he going to tell them a joke about an ugly duckling and a white swan? Actually, it's nothing much. My wife has been clamoring to buy a diamond ring. There are already more than 10 diamond rings at home, so I used the glass shards of a wine bottle to make one. In the end, she accepted it with a smile. I decided to do it this way in the future. That woman is too wasteful. Lord Zhou's ability to fabricate stories was really awesome. A smile finally appeared on Tang Wushuang's face. Seems like I can also imitate you. I have to buy more than 10 pills at once. I can't afford it. It's all because you're a playboy. Mu Jia pouted. In actuality, what really made Yihua angry was the problem of quantity. He actually lost to the humans in terms of quantity. Although I'm a bit of a playboy, I'm sincere to you. Just like the diamond rings in your hands, they're not glass shards. They're 10-carat pink diamonds. And Jia, the blue diamond in your hand is 11 carat. They're worth more than 20 million in total, and it's in US dollars. The two women were also stunned. Of course, they wouldn't look for a price for a gift from their husband, but they were very touched today. $20 million was really thoughtful. Xiao Yi, what about mine? Nangong Sini delicately asked. In terms of size, the one on Nangong Sini's finger was much bigger. Xiao Yi said casually, "Your diamond is 24.78 carats. It's a graph pink diamond, unique in the world. It costs $46 million. I bought it for you because I thought it looked good." Lord Zhou blushed with shame. This was really a group of prodigal sons. Even if they wanted to please a woman, they didn't have to do this. "Sini, your husband dotes on you. He doesn't want my Wushuang to be so petty." "That's right." Tang Wushuang shook his head helplessly. Women's competitive nature has never changed at all. Why don't you go and compare with other women? If there is one who is better than you, I will live stream myself slicing the chicken. Qingya was a bit sad. Look at other people's husbands, they are willing to give so much. Then look at my husband, does he have 5 kara? I reckon that he doesn't have 5 kara. CEO Qing, what kind of ring are you wearing? Can you let us take a look? Quan On Rong asked aloud. It was obvious that this woman wanted to hide her hand just now. She must be embarrassed. Qingya sorted out her state of mind and said with a slight smile, "This is the engagement ring that my husband gave me." Wow. Red diamond. Green diamond. That's not right. Purple diamond, right? Yellow diamond. The few people who were observing the diamond looked incredulous. What kind of diamond was this? The colors were different from different angles. Also, the craftsmanship of the ring was so heaven-defying. The metal that was like a dragon's claw was tightly embedded with diamonds. It was very imposing. "This stone is pretty good," Xiao Yi whispered. This was the first time he had seen something like this. Diamonds didn't look like this. At most, they were just strange stones. Tang Wushuang also followed and said, "CEO Qing, where did you buy this stone? I will also go and buy a few to play with." This was a typical case of saying that the grapes were sour when they couldn't eat them. The three women couldn't help but stretch out their hands and compare them. Other than the fact that their rings were big and expensive, they were completely not on the same level. But luckily, they were big and expensive. If not, other than the appearance, even their rings would be inferior. Just when the three women were feeling gratified, an inconceivable scene happened. Crack. The sound was very clear and melodious, just like the sound of glass cracking. The three women looked towards their own big diamond rings, and cracks appeared on all 3 of their rings at the same time. Even Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang were stupefied by this scene. What is going on? How can a diamond crack on its own? The light of the stars actually dares to compete with the brilliance of the sun and the moon. The Infinity Stone also has its own temper. Although it is sealed, but to use this kind of broken thing to compare with me is simply a disgrace. Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang's expression became grave. Immediately, they sensed the undulations in the surroundings, but they didn't sense anything. Why did it crack? If it was only a crack that appeared, then it would be very simple. The crack gradually expanded. The clear and melodious sound rang out once again. The diamonds on the 3 rings turned into slag and fell onto the floor. On the other hand, the ring on Qingya's hand was perfectly fine. Under the illumination of the lights, the ring was emitting a dazzling radiance, seemingly like it was giving a warning to the world. Don't use this kind of trash to lower your own status. In actuality, Qingya was the same as the other 3 women. They were all stupefied. Their rings had shattered, but mine didn't. Instead, they were like a troublemaker, flaunting their achievements. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang didn't know what to say. Just a moment ago, they were just talking about how many carats the ring was and how much money they bought it for, and in a blink of an eye, their rings shattered. Isn't this the same as slapping their own faces? Meanwhile, the 3 women also felt very angry, but they didn't know where to vent their anger. I obviously wanted to mock this woman's ring, but I didn't expect that my own ring would shatter into slag. Little Jiu, did the glass slag ring that you gave me break into pieces? Yi Hua asked indifferently. The stupefied Jiu Yi didn't think too much and immediately replied, "Of course not." Just that, after he finished speaking, he immediately cursed inwardly. Isn't this saying that our rings are even inferior to glass slag? The pit that the boss dug is so deep, the main point is that I even jumped into it. I have to suffer in silence, but I won't be able to explain myself. Qingya felt very great, and she couldn't help but open up her star-cleansing fan and slightly fanned it. Immediately, she felt relaxed and happy. In other people's eyes, this kind of expression of hers was just like an arrogant swan that easily won against an ugly duckling. However, regarding the matter that happened just now, in actuality, I still have to apologize to Yi Hua. I shouldn't have had that kind of thoughts. I shouldn't have blamed Yi Hua for not buying a good ring for me. In order to express my apology, I will allow him to go and play games tonight, but he cannot go past 10 p.m. Young Master Xiao, young Master Tang, in the future, you have to pay attention, don't buy fake goods. Money is a small matter, but don't hurt the madam's hearts. Qingya fanned herself and consoled. Originally, they were clearly here to hug onto Yi Hua's thigh, but in the end, because of Yi Hua's words, they became here to act cool. Tang Wushuang was still smart, and he immediately said angrily, "This damned swindler, don't be angry tomorrow, your husband will help you to settle the score." Xiao Yi patted onto his wife's shoulder. Although he didn't say anything, his gaze was flickering with coldness, seemingly prepared to find trouble with the profiteer. To actually make me and my wife lose face like this is intolerable. Chapter 65. Could it be this man? However, he couldn't sense any aura fluctuations from his body. Just who was it? Yi Hua had to properly praise Qingya. Qingya's words not only gave them a way out of this embarrassing situation, but at the same time, it was also a hidden mockery. Meanwhile, they didn't have any other choice, unless they shed all pretense of cordiality with Qingya. If they really shed all pretense of cordiality with Qingya, then it would be Yi Hua's turn to step onto the stage. However, dealing with this kind of human would simply be dirtying Yi Hua's hands. As his wife, her intelligence was considered a pass. Of course, she was also beautiful and had the aura of a wild cat. She actually dared to push him. She was quite bold. Her only flaw was that she wasn't obedient enough. If she was obedient, she would be the most powerful woman in the entire universe. Aya, what a big scene. Young Master Xiao, young Master Tang, why didn't you invite me to a gathering when you came to the south? A young man wearing a casual suit and sunglasses walked in with an extremely arrogant expression. Behind him were a woman and 2 men, and from their clothes, they should be bodyguards. It was just that the woman looked very good, and was on the same level as Nangong Sini, but she was only a bodyguard. Aya, CEO Qing is here too. You guys aren't good enough. What you guys are doing is really heartbreaking. Wang Debao took off his sunglasses and revealed a surprised expression on his face. Why does the Qingya today seem to have changed? She has changed to the point that my heart is beating a lot faster. Nangong Sini took a deep breath. So it's young Master Wang. Sorry for not going out to greet you. Sini, you're too mean. After all, we used to be classmates. Wang Debao said carelessly, looking like a nouveau riche. Xiao Yi's face darkened. This man dared to take liberties with his woman. He really didn't want to live anymore. Mr. Xiao, you're so lucky. Back then, I chased after Sini for a long time. Sigh, Wang Debao spread his hands. It was obvious that he was here to cause trouble. Yi Hua was a bit interested in this young Master Wang, and he asked towards Qingya who was beside him. Who is this person? Qingya laughed bitterly. His name is Wang Debao, Gaohai City's famous prodigal. However, it just so happens that other people are able to earn money by squandering. Just like buying a piece of land that is not worth much today, the price of a land would increase in a few days. In any case, whatever he buys, he would be able to earn money. Oh, interesting. Yi Hua said faintly. Yi Hua, let's go back. Let's not get involved in their matters. Qingya didn't really want to get involved in that circle. After all, that circle was too complicated, and the water was too deep. Right now, Yi Hua changed his mind. Let's continue playing. Didn't you say you wanted to go home and play games? Right now, Qingya wished that she could drag Yi Hua away. Just that, Yi Hua wasn't willing to do so. These three people can be considered to be well-known figures within the human race, and I wonder if there are any people that are of a higher level than them. Perhaps they might be able to cause a ripple in my heart, but if I want to make a move, I am still not qualified to do so. Yi Hua lightly stroked onto Qingya's willowy waist. Didn't you want to cooperate with us? Didn't you want to earn money? It's too early for you to go back now. This scoundrel actually touched his waist in front of so many people. Furthermore, he was talking about cooperation now. It would be good if others didn't find trouble with him just now. It's all your fault. Qingya immediately pushed the blame onto Yi Hua. Last time, I was also affected by Yi Hua, and this time, it's the same as well. If this goes on, I will offend everyone, and if that goes on, I will not be far from going bankrupt. Xiao Yi could be heard saying faintly, Everyone, let's go into the side hall to chat, it's too noisy here. Young Master Xiao, you can't be thinking of killing me in the side hall, right? I have to be prepared to call the police at any time. Wang Debao said with a scared look on his face. Nangong Sini laughed lightly. Young Master Wang must be joking. Tang Wushuang said faintly, Isn't killing you just a matter of minutes? You dare. The female bodyguard behind Wang Debao shouted out lightly, and the feet that she stepped out directly shattered the granite floor, giving Qingya a fright. Yi Hua lightly hugged onto his wife. Their relationship doesn't seem to be that good. Leaning onto her husband's side, Qingya felt that she was surrounded by safety. She said tenderly, There are a lot of big families in Zijin City, and Xiao family and Tang family are just two of them. They also have their own competitors. For example, this Wang Debao, although his main base is at High Ocean City, his wife is from Zijin Cities by family, and by family just happens to be the archenemy of Xiao family and Tang family. If that's the case, then what about you? Yi Hua asked curiously. Thanks to you, after today, I won't even have the qualification to be at the bottom anymore. Qingya rolled her eyes at her husband. This fellow who is messing around. In actuality, Yi Hua basically didn't say anything. Qingya was the one who said everything. From this point, it could be seen that Qingya had indeed received Yi Hua's impression. Most probably, in the future, Qingya would still be the same. She wouldn't put anyone in her eyes anymore. Do you want to step on their heads? Yi Hua asked. Qingya's heart sunk as she said hurriedly, Yi Hua, don't mess around right now, I just want to live peacefully. In the past, Qingya really wanted to stand at the peak and look at the scenery, but ever since she became pregnant with a child, she felt that her frame of mind had changed. Everything became insignificant, and only the child in her stomach was the most important. Looking at Qingya who was caressing her stomach, Yi Hua seemed to have understood something. What a foolish woman. The few of them walked into the side hall. In actuality, the side hall was more like a big living room, and it was a place for customers to discuss business or boast. As long as they lit up a cigarette, the whole world would be their own. What I'm going to say next, I hope that you all keep it a secret, if not, you all will have to bear the consequences. Xiao Yi said calmly. In actuality, what he said was for Yi Hua, Qingya, and Jiu Yi to hear, because they were all ordinary people. Wang Debao laughed in disdain, still keeping it a secret. Do you think that Jiu Yi doesn't know about it? There's also big sister Qing Ya, and of course, there's also this handsome guy. Xiao Yi laughed coldly. Wang Debao, coming to the south this time was not my original intention. You northerners should just obediently stay in the north. Whatever happens in the south, it is not your turn to get involved. Wang Debao kept away his frivolous smile and said gravely. Everyone who was seated at the table were all smart people, and they all understood that with the other party's strength, it was impossible for them to fight, so they might as well think of a way to make the other party look bad. Tang Wushuang laughed coldly. This is an order from the higher-ups. Longan City is restless, and a lot of metahumans have appeared. Wang Debao said disapprovingly. So what? Aren't you all the same? After pausing for a bit, Wang Debao continued. It's not like you all don't know that our world is located at the point where the spatial chaos occurred. Xiao Yi, back then you died. So how did you come back to life? I don't think I need to explain it to you, right? And you, Tang Wushuang, back then you went to serve in the army, and after serving for 2 years you disappeared for 3 years. Where did you go for those 3 years? Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang appeared to be very calm. For this kind of matter, as long as they go and investigate it, they would definitely be able to find out the truth. However, this was all just a kind of assumption. An assumption without any proof. This was the first time that Yi Hua had heard of this kind of theory. This place is actually the point where the spatial chaos occurred. If this theory is correct, it would be able to explain why I am here. Chapter 66. Haha. Boss Quan is really a heroine. Wang Debao suddenly laughed, but a cold light flashed in his eyes. Yi Hua was thinking in his heart. Hurry up and start fighting. Then I will be able to defend myself. Defending myself shouldn't be considered as dirtying my hands, right? The atmosphere of the scene had solidified to the extreme, and the 3 bodyguards behind Wang Debao were already getting restless. Meanwhile, Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang were protecting the women behind them, while Yi Hua and the others who were watching the show stood at the side. If Qing Yutong was here, she would definitely buy a spicy gluten and sit on a small stool to watch the show. Lord Jiu swallowed his saliva. When immortals fight, the ones who suffer are the mortals. I heard that a cultivation world has appeared recently. Is that true? As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere seemed to relax. The cultivation world has always existed. It's just that ordinary people don't know about it, said Xiao Yi lightly. Lord Jiu pretended to be surprised. There really are cultivators. Lord Jiu, nothing is too strange in this world. Maybe this handsome guy is the most powerful boss, Wang Debao said. Yi Hua revealed out a slight smile. You really guessed correctly. Hearing this, Qing Ya felt a bit muddle-headed. She felt as if she had entered into another world. What special ability, what cultivation, all of them had come out. Is there indeed nothing wrong with their brains? Xiao Yi said coldly, Young Master Wang, you better control the southern cultivators, or don't blame me for being merciless. Same here, Wang Debao said disdainfully. Listening to the 2 of them speaking ruthlessly to each other, Yi Hua once again thought of the past. It seems like what humans like the most is to speak ruthlessly. Just like right now, instead of saying ruthlessly to each other, I might as well fight to my heart's content. Picking up the TV remote control, Yi Hua turned on the TV. Qing Ya thought to herself, not good. Yi Hua's childish heart is back again. It was a misunderstanding. Yi Hua was just bored. Although they didn't say much, they had still given Yi Hua a lot of information, and the words that they said could be considered as the ending. The few of them who were exchanging harsh words with each other suddenly felt a little confused, because the sound of the television suddenly sounded. Yi Hua, they are quarreling. Can you give them some face and let them finish quarreling? Qing Ya said in a low voice. Too boring. Yi Hua said faintly. Just at this time, the channel stopped at CCTV 5, and coincidentally, Qing Ya grabbed the remote control and was preparing to turn off the TV. CO Qing, wait. Wang Debao shouted out. Qing Ya was a bit puzzled. The TV was showing the World Cup match between Portugal and Spain. The first half was almost over, and Portugal was leading Spain by 2-1. Young Master Xiao, are you interested in playing? Wang Debao smiled as he pointed at the competition. Xiao Yi's expression wasn't very good. This bastard earned whatever he bought. Wasn't betting with him a losing proposition? But if he didn't bet with him, Wouldn't he be a laughingstock? Seeing Xiao Yi's ugly expression, Wang Debao's smile widened. Young Master Xiao, let's bet 100 million on Spain. Spain was now lagging behind, and their opponent, Portugal, was strong. Moreover, they had Ronaldo. It would be difficult for Spain to win. Xiao Yi didn't believe that you could win. You can afford to lose 100 million. Fine. Then I'll bet on Portugal. The two of them placed their bets, just that at this time, an indifferent and ordinary voice rang out. So boring. Everyone looked towards Yihua, and Wang Debao said with a smile, handsome brother, you can join in as well. Yihua wasn't very interested in betting, but other people had already said that as a supreme overlord, if I were to cower, I would lose a lot of face. The stakes are too small. Yihua said indifferently. Wang Debao liked this kind of person. It's fine, we can add more. Tang Wushuang seemed to have already seen this man losing so much that even his butt would be gone. Don't ever go and gamble with this Wang Debao. This fellow will always win mysteriously. It's fine if it's a small amount of money, but it's better to hold back when it's a big amount of money. Let's bet on our family fortune then. Yihua felt that only by betting on our family fortune could we call it a bet. Thinking back then, when wasn't I betting on my family fortune or my life? Qingya almost fell down. Where did you get your family fortune from, this bastard? You didn't even discuss with me. Wang Debao and Xiao Yi were startled, and doubt appeared in their eyes. Yihua's words of betting on our family fortune shocked the two of them. What is he trying to do? Qingya, how much money do you have? Yihua asked calmly. Qingya really wanted to cry. I feel that I don't have to wait for the future to go bankrupt. I can go bankrupt tonight. Plus the company and other immovable assets. Yihua added a sentence. Qingya felt a bit dizzy. Why did I end up with such a husband who likes to watch cartoons, play games, and now, he even likes to gamble? My life is completely dark right now. However, I can't let my husband lose face outside. At worst, my whole family will just have to eat dirt. In any case, my life is already dark. Maybe tomorrow will be even more despairing. Qingqing International's current market value is around 50 billion. And then let's bet 50 billion. What do the two of you think? Yihua asked faintly. Let me ask you too. Do you two dare to bet or not? 50 billion, for a single match. Xiao family was indeed a big family, but 50 billion was not a small amount. If they were to lose, it would hurt their muscles and bones. And Wang Debao was also considering. This was the first time he doubted his own luck. If he were to lose, then I would have to give away half of my family fortune to someone else. Xiao Jiu, are you interested? Yihua asked. Zhou Yi shook his head even more like a rattle drum. Boss really doesn't walk the normal path. Either he doesn't say anything, or once he says something, he would scare people to death. However, the lady boss is really willing to bet all of her family fortune on the boss. This couple is really a perfect match. Boss, let's forget about it. I will keep the money to buy a diamond ring for my wife. Yihua looked towards the TV. The first half had just ended, and it was still Portugal who scored an extra goal. Since you two are betting on winning and losing, then I will bet 50 billion. Zhou Yi was about to shout 66-66, and Qingya felt that her legs had already softened. If not for her supporting Yihua, she would have already fallen onto the ground. All of my hard work has been pointed out by Yihua with a single sentence. Wang Debao had never played such a big bet before. He made up his mind. All right. I will continue to bet on Spain's victory. 50 billion. Zhou Yi couldn't help but exclaim in admiration at Wang Debao's courage. Right now, Spain is falling behind, and yet, he still insists on betting on Spain's victory. Awesome. The few people's gazes were all placed onto Xiao Yi, seemingly asking him, do you dare to bet or not? If you don't dare, then go back home and play with women. Don't participate in men's entertainment activities. Brother Xiao, I support you. Tang Wushuang said. I am willing to invest 25 billion. Right now, Portugal is in the lead. The chance of them winning is very big. Xiao Yi had never gambled such a big bet before, and he felt that it was a bit like child's play, but right now, he has no choice but to gamble. Face is more important than money. All right, bet 50 billion on Portugal's victory. Xiao Yi said gravely. Chapter 67. Yihua appeared to be very indifferent. No matter if I win or lose, I have to gamble for the sake of the Supreme Overlord's face. At worst, I will just eat less crayfish in the future. How big of a deal is that? Look at how nervous they are. Humans, they are just like this. I remember that in the past when I was killing someone, there would always be someone who doesn't have eyes that would first boast for a while to show how powerful they are. After the fight is over, they would only know how to beg for mercy. Just like them, they were bragging about how rich they were and how many diamond rings they had bought, but they only bet 50 billion. Their faces were as black as coal. He really overestimated them. Look at my woman, how calm she is. Qingye was just temporarily dumbfounded. She didn't have enough time to change her expression. Along with the start of the second half of the match, other than Yi Hua, everyone's heart was in the air. Although 50 billion was just a number to them, if they wanted to earn that much money, it would still take a very long period of time. To lose that much money in a single night, they would naturally be unwilling. Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang seemed to be slightly nervous. Although they were currently in the lead, they were still worried about this matter, let alone the three women who were following behind them. How could they have this kind of mental state? The ball's in. As the commentator on the TV shouted excitedly, Xiao Yi's heart sank to the bottom. Spain scored. Wang Debeo heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that his luck was still with him. He was destined to win tonight. The money was delivered to his doorstep, a full 100 billion. If he were to squander, how long would it take him to squander? Yay! Qingye shouted out excitedly. Right now, if the match is a draw, it means that my chances of winning is very high. If he won tonight, he would earn 100 billion for nothing. If he had to earn it himself, how long would it take? God bless him. No more goals. Yi Hua felt a bit bored and pulled the extremely excited Qingye to the small bar counter at the side and started drinking wine. Yi Hua, give me a cup of tea to calm myself down. Qingye was excited to the point that her hands were trembling. Yi Hua poured a cup of water. Pregnant women still want to drink alcohol? Drinking water will do. Right now, she was very excited and thirsty. Raising her head, she drank a glass of water. When is China's team going to compete? Yi Hua asked curiously. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. Other than China's team that didn't go, everyone else went. How can the Chinese team be so weak with Yao Ming? Ye Hua, Yao Ming plays basketball. Yi Hua took a sip of the wine, feeling a bit awkward. Lord Jiu simply wanted to kneel down and worship this couple. They had already gambled their family's fortune, yet they were still so calm. Just how did they train their state of mind? Look at them. It was as if they were going to stare a hole through the television. The ball's in. Spain has taken the lead. Along with the commentator's excited and high-pitched voice once again ringing out from the TV, Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang couldn't sit still anymore. Qingye was completely stupefied, while Wang Debeo revealed out a smile that was as it should be. It seems that Spain is going to win. Wang Debeo, who was in a good mood, held the delicate hand of the female bodyguard and played with her, while the female bodyguard blushed. Xiao Yi's face darkened. He could win money if he lost, but he couldn't get his face back if he lost, especially to this prodigal son. After tonight, it would definitely spread throughout the industry. Yi Hua, in the future, we are going to have to eat dirt. Qingye looked at Yi Hua pitifully and felt like crying. Yi Hua stroked onto Qingye's hair. I know that there is a type of soil that is also very delicious. You're still joking at a time like this? Qingye didn't know whether to cry or to cry. In just a single night, I went bankrupt. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come. Looking at Wang Debeo, who was immensely proud of himself, Xiao Yi felt very unhappy in his heart. Seems like I have to cheat. At the same time, within a villa in Longan City, Death Mage was also watching the World Cup. However, it was only today that he found out that there was a World Cup. In the past, all he watched were replays. Opening up the app on his phone, Death Mage took a look at his bet, then took a look at the score. No. This is a good start for me. I cannot lose. If I were to be found out by my master that I gambled and lost, where am I going to put my face? Stretching out his hand and stroking onto his chin, Death Mage immediately snapped his fingers. On the TV, the Spain player could be seen immediately committing a foul, then having a stupefied look on his face, and the Portugal player was able to get a free kick at an extremely good position. Death Mage was very satisfied. I swear. I will only cheat once. I won't cheat next time. Looking at Ronaldo's firm gaze that was filled with killing intent on the TV, Death Mage snapped his fingers once again, and the ball could be seen drawing an arc in the air and steadily shooting into the goal. Immediately, Death Mage picked up the beer bottle, raised his head and gulped down a mouthful of beer, then let out a strange sound from his mouth. Oh, hi, it seemed that his 200 yuan was safe. He would not gamble next time, or else he would cheat again. In the clubhouse, Wang Debao was dumbfounded as he looked at the running Ronaldo. Don't you know? You kicked yourself out of 50 billion. 50 billion. Xiaoyi heaved a sigh of relief. This emperor actually fell to cheating. How ironic. On the other hand, Qingya was even more excited to the point of shrieking. She held onto Yihua's face and gave him a kiss. Look at you, it's just scoring a goal. Yihua wrinkled his brows and said, how improper. Qingya didn't care about that much. That kick of Ronaldo's had earned me 100 billion. This is simply a golden thigh. However, because of that kick of Ronaldo's, a lot of people were currently queuing up at the rooftop. Xiaoyi looked at the time. One more goal would be enough. Right now the situation was leaning towards Yihua, and Yihua had the highest chance of winning. Qingya was nervous to the point that she tightly held onto Yihua's big hand. I have never felt such excitement in my entire life. I feel so good. Wang Debao became silent as he looked toward Xiaoyi. Could it be that this fellow is playing dirty tricks? Tang Wushuang revealed out a faint smile. I didn't expect that Brother Xiao would cheat too. Along with the 90th minute, the referee added 3 minutes into the match. These 3 minutes were also the most difficult 3 minutes for Qingya. She felt that she had almost lived through a century. Xiaoyi tightly wrinkled his brows. Why is there a problem with my control? It seems like there is another power that is pulling me. Why is it like this? Just who is the one causing trouble? That damned bastard. For the sake of 200 renminbi, Death Mage was also fighting against Xiaoyi. Of course, there was also Wang Debao's luck. Yihua looked at the clock. It's almost 10 p.m. I still have to go back and play with my sister-in-law later on. Let's quickly end this match. Along with the referee blowing the whistle, the score was fixed at 3-3. It was a draw. Other than Yihua, who had an indifferent expression, everyone else was dumbfounded. Qingya shook Yihua's hand and pointed towards the television, but she was already so excited that she couldn't speak. After a long while, CEO Xiao, CEO Tang, CEO Wang, seems like my man's luck is rather good. Thank you for letting me win. Thank you for letting me win. At this time, it was Qingya's turn to step onto the stage, and she was extremely pleased with herself. Yihua is truly a good person. Meanwhile, everyone's face was black, and they were completely speechless. Yihua held onto Qingya's delicate hand. Let's go, I still want to go back home and play games. And play games. Play games. This man actually wanted to go back home and play games. Did he even care about the bet? Chapter 68. After finished speaking, Jiao Yi brought Qingya and left the conference room. Jiao Yi also smiled and left. There was nothing left to do here. Everyone in the side hall remained silent for a while. Nangong Sini was a bit regretful that she called Qingya over. If she didn't call Qingya over, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Qing family still needs Xiao family's help. I don't think they would dare to do anything. Nangong Sini said gravely. It was very obvious that she was going to renege on the debt. Tang Wushuang smiled and said, that's true, Qing family is really nothing in Zijin City. Wang Debao let out a breath. A loss is a loss. Tang. This person just left and he is already preparing to renege on the debt. I have plenty of money. I am not going to renege on the debt. Young Master Wang is rich and overbearing. If you are willing to be a hothead, we will not stop you. Quan Anrong mocked. However, Wang Debao's decision might be the wisest decision in his entire life. His luck was not too good. It indirectly eliminated a disaster for their Wang family. However, Xiao family and Tang family did not approve of it. Bye-bye everyone. When the time comes, prepare to welcome the people who will step on the debt. Wang Debao waved his hand. As long as I don't lose to them, everything is fine. However, he started to doubt his own luck. This is the first time I have encountered such a situation. It is too strange. If it was Xiaoyi who cheated, he would definitely not let me lose. Could it be that handsome guy who cheated? It shouldn't be. Then who is it? Death Mage looked at the 200 RMB that was transferred into his account happily, feeling great. I won't gamble anymore next time, And I even bet such a big amount. I hate gambling the most. If they were to know that Death Mage lost tens of billions of their money for 200 RMB, they would definitely go berserk from anger. Sitting on the Audi A8, Qingye was still in a state of excitement, but after thinking about it, although I won, they probably won't give me money, who asked me to not have any backing. Let's go home. Yutong is still waiting for me to play duo. Yihua urged. Humph, if not for the sake that you won money for me, I wouldn't have allowed you to play game. Qingye pouted her sexy red lips, then started the car and went back. Qingye, how about you sell the company and peacefully stay at home and take care of the child? Yihua said faintly. Qingye, why don't you sell the company and peacefully stay at home and take care of the child? Qingye chuckled. Will you support me? I can even raise 10 of you. Your ambition is not small. Do you want to learn from Tang Wushuang and flip the cards at night? This idea isn't bad. Yihua said faintly, indicating that he could consider it. How dare you? Why not? Do you believe that I will drive into the river? I don't believe you. You. It was just a daily quarrel that would be resolved in a matter of minutes. In the clubhouse, Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang lit up their cigarettes. It had been a very long time since they had experienced the feeling of losing, and this time it was really hard for them to get over it. Wushuang, even if we don't give them the money, the Qing family wouldn't dare to say anything. Mu Jia chuckled. In terms of strength, the Qing family was very weak. Tang Wushuang was speechless. If I don't pay up after losing, I will lose face. Of course, the three women knew that men cared about their dignity, but they were unwilling to give up. Nangong Sini smiled faintly. All right, don't be so distracted. Leave this matter to me. I guarantee that the Qing family wouldn't dare to say anything. As for Wang Debao, he has a lot of money, and he is willing to be this fool. Xiao Yi extinguished the cigarette butt and stood up. All right, since Wang Debao came here today to give us a warning, let's put this matter aside for now. Wushuang, get the people above to exert pressure on the Qing family and rope in as many people with special abilities as possible. Don't let the people in the south hog everything for themselves. No problem. There are indeed a lot of strong people in the south, but my master is able to poke them to death with a single finger. Tang Wushuang smiled with his hands behind his back, seemingly not afraid of anyone at all. Xiao Yi laughed. During those 3 years, you followed your master to train? Of course, if it wasn't for master saving me, I reckon that I would have already died. This was the first time that Quan On Rong heard her husband mentioning about master. In the past, her husband had always kept his mouth shut about master. Quan On Rong asked curiously, Wushuang, just how strong is master? Tang Wushuang hugged onto his wife's waist and said with a smile, my current level is not even 10% of master's. Master is able to defeat me with just his pinky. Wushuang, your ability to boast seems to have improved. Nangong Sini smiled faintly. It was obvious that she didn't really believe Tang Wushuang. Xiao Yi would naturally doubt Tang Wushuang as well. He had pretty much figured out Tang Wushuang's strength, but it was still impossible for him to defeat Tang Wushuang with just his pinky. Seems like I need to go into closed-door training as my strength has yet to recover to its peak. Furthermore, there were a few accidents that happened today, and danger was everywhere. Brother Xiao, I won't be accompanying you anymore, the night is still law. Tang Wushuang hugged onto his wives and revealed a look that all men understood. Xiao Yi laughed helplessly. Let's go too, we will return tomorrow. Didn't you plan to stay for a few more days? Nangong Sini finally got the chance to be alone with Tang Wushuang with great difficulty, so she naturally couldn't bear to part with him. Xiao Yi said tenderly, this time when I return, I will go into closed-door training. That way, I will be able to ensure the safety of our family. You are already so strong, yet you still want to go into closed-door training? Nangong Sini pouted her small mouth. Do you think that everything that happened today was an accident? Diamond gambling, football gambling, all of those were done by a person who is even stronger than me. Xiao Yi's gaze was heavy. This was the first time he felt a deep threat. Looking at her husband's serious face, Nangong Sini wrinkled her brows. Do you need me to do anything? Little fool, you just have to hide behind my back. No matter how big the storm is, I will block it for you. Xiao Yi hugged onto his wife and kissed onto the other's forehead. Nangong Sini rubbed onto her husband's chest and said tenderly, Brother Xiao, I love you. I love you too, Sini. In the car, Qingya was humming the music that she liked, and her face was brimming with a happy smile. This was the first time that Yi Hua saw Qingya maintain a smile for so long. So it turns out that this woman loves money to this extent. She is truly shallow. Yi Hua, what do you want? Wife will give you a reward. Qingya said straightforwardly. Beauty. Go and die. It was already 11 p.m. when they returned to Leisure Bar. Yi Hua and Qingya walked into Leisure Bar together and saw that there was not a single person in the bar, of course, other than the waiters and the security guards. Qingya was a bit embarrassed as she lowered her head and said in a low voice, About that. Don't stay out too late. After finished speaking, Qingya slipped away and went upstairs. Yi Hua really wanted to smack that perky butt of hers. This is truly giving me a headache. After taking a glance, Yi Hua's brows wrinkled even deeper. He could see that Wei Chong and Tang Wei were standing together, and the two seemed to be chatting very happily. What is this Wei Chong doing? When did he start having feelings for a woman? Letting out a breath, Yi Hua walked forward and directly opened the door of his sister-in-law's bedroom. Brother-in-law, you are finally back. I have been dead for an entire night. So useless. Yi Hua said lightly. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. Aren't you the same? You were dead for an entire afternoon. Chapter 69. Brother-in-law, where do we jump? School. Yi Hua lit up a cigarette and said faintly. I don't think so. We've never left the school alive. If you want to become stronger, sneaking around won't do. Only through constant confrontation can one learn true skills. Qing Yutong seemed to be shocked and said foolishly, Brother-in-law, your acting cool after smoking syndrome is back again. I need to take a breath of fresh air. Sit tight, jump. With a look of despair on her face, Qing Yutong pressed on the F key. There was no need to think too much. After a few minutes, she would once again return to the plane, and then the endless loop would repeat. After returning to her room, Qingya took a bath and laid on the bed. She was so excited that she couldn't even fall asleep. Will they admit to their debt or not? Probably not. It's not 500 yuan. However, to be honest, Yi Hua's luck today was really good. I thought that I would have to eat dirt after tonight. Slowly closing her beautiful eyes, she heard the sound of a bell. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Qingya tossed and turned on the big bed, but she just couldn't fall asleep. I am used to hugging onto things to sleep, and right now without anything to hug onto, it is truly hard for me to fall asleep. I tried to hug onto a pillow, but I can't. Helplessly turning on the bedside lamp, Qingya's brows wrinkled deeply. It's already 12 o'clock, and Yi Hua still hasn't come over. After wearing the furry slippers, Qingya prepared to go and call Yi Hua. Upon opening the door, she heard the voices of the two people. Brother-in-law, get me a gun, I'll charge. Who are you aiming at with that spear technique of yours? Didn't you just say that we have to be imposing? Yi Hua couldn't help but knock onto Qing Yutong's head. The imposing manner is in place, not for you to rush in stupidly. Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth and rubbed her head pitifully. Yi Hua, do you still want to sleep or not? Qingya couldn't help but shout out. Yi Hua seriously played the game and said slowly, I will play this round, you go and sleep first. Qingya, who was wearing a thin silk pajamas, was particularly alluring. To be able to hug onto a woman like this to sleep at night, it would simply feel great to the point of exploding. God knows how many men wish to be able to sleep with a woman like this, but there are some men who would rather have games than a beautiful woman, for example, Yi Hua. Then, after you finish this match, come and sleep. Qingya, who had no other choice, instructed. Yes. However, right after Qingya closed the door, Yi Hua and Qing Yutong were killed. Brother-in-law, Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth and looked at Yi Hua pitifully. Let's play one last round. Okay. Qingya lied on the bed and continued to listen to the clock. After an unknown amount of time, Qingya once again turned on the bedside lamp and looked at the time. It was actually already 1 o'clock. He couldn't take it anymore. While panting with rage, Yi Hua rushed into Qing Yutong's room, and the two people inside were currently fighting in full swing. Brother-in-law, we can finally be the school's little tyrants. Yi Hua let out a deep sigh. The feeling of being able to leave the school alive is really good. However, before he even walked out of the school gate, the screen turned black. It wasn't that she was killed, rather, it was that Qingya unplugged the power source. Yi Hua. Do you want a game or a wife? You better speak clearly to me today. Qingya placed her hands on her waist and gave off the feeling of a middle-aged woman. Seeing that her big sister had flipped out, Qing Yutong planned to quietly leave the crime scene in order to avoid getting shot. Stop right there. Qing Yutong revealed out a foolish smile. Big sister, I'm sleepy. If you two have anything to say, just go back and fight. Brother-in-law, later on, if you are beaten down by big sister, remember to call me over to help you up. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong jumped onto the bed, covered herself with the blanket, and had a look of not caring about anything. Yihua stood up and said lightly, Go back and sleep. You still know that you need to sleep. Qingya said coquettishly, and couldn't help but pinch Yihua. However, to Yihua, he didn't feel this bit of pain at all. Quickly go and take a bath. There is a smell of smoke. Yihua took a whiff of his clothes, and indeed, the smell of smoke was very strong. Yihua took off his clothes and walked into the bathroom, but he didn't hurry to take a bath. Instead, he called out, Lai Gu, come over for a bit. 5 seconds later, Lai Gu, who was yawning, appeared in the bathroom. There is someone outside who is going to handle this. In actuality, Yihua had long sensed that there was a person in the surroundings of Leisure Bar. If it was an ordinary person, it would be fine, but this person came with a purpose. Your Honor, subordinate wants a body. Lai Gu begged while lying on the floor. Yihua asked curiously, Isn't being a dog pretty good? Why did you suddenly want to change your taste? Lai Gu suddenly stood up and stretched out his 2 front paws. Your Honor, look, I don't even feel anything, Yihua. This time around, Yihua finally understood why Lai Gu wanted to be a human. It was because a woman was too beautiful, and he was unable to feel the feeling of being a human. This was a kind of sublimation, at least to Lai Gu this was the case. Your Honor, I want a handsome one, I want a tall one, muscular one, big one. In any case, I just want all kinds of big ones. Yihua lightly waved his hand and said lightly, You can freely switch between a dog's body and a human's body. Hide your identity well. If those women of yours were to find out, just kill them. Your Honor, Lai Gu naturally understands. Lai Gu happily waited for his body to change, but when he looked at the junior high school student that was in front of him in the mirror, his entire person didn't feel good. Your Honor, Lai Gu begged. At the very least, I need to be a bit bigger. Go on, find out how many espers are in Longan City, and also those cultivators and whatnot. With your current appearance, no one will suspect anything. Yihua said faintly. In the past, it was still fine if I didn't come into contact with them, but now that I have come into contact with them, it is as if I know what exactly is going on. I will solemnly obey Master's command. Lai Gu said weakly, then changed back into his dog's appearance and disappeared from the bathroom. Meanwhile, Yihua also began to take a bath. Yihua, do you need half an hour to take a bath too? Do you not want to sleep with me? A few black lines immediately appeared on Yihua's forehead. This woman, am I treating her too well, to actually dare to make such a big fuss about me? On a rooftop that was beside Leisure Bar, a man who wore black clothes was currently observing the situation in Yihua's bedroom. After a few days of investigation, Caesar discovered that Qingya had come to this Leisure Bar a month ago, and during these few days, she even directly stayed in this bar. This is truly too strange. Through my investigation, even if Qingya is pregnant, there is no need for her to stay together with this strange man. Furthermore, this Leisure Bar is giving off a strange feeling. A man's sixth sense was telling him that the extermination of the organization was definitely related to that man. As for how he did it, there was really no evidence at all. Originally, I wanted to go back to my hometown, marry a wife, give birth to a child, and live a peaceful life. I didn't expect that such a thing would actually happen. Seems like this dream of mine is temporarily not going to be fulfilled. Chapter 70. Swish, swish, swish. Caesar went into a daze. What is this sound? Turning his head to take a look, he saw a huge pit bull currently scratching its ear. When did it walk to my side? I actually didn't notice it at all. Caesar couldn't help but take in a breath of cold air. Luckily it is a dog. If it was an enemy, I would definitely be injured. Go, 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 go play at the side. Caesar pretended to hit the pit bull a few times, just wanting to chase this dog away. Whoa! Lai Gu raised his head and howled. Caesar's expression changed. I am going to alert the enemy, this damned dog. I can only come back another day. At this time, Yihua walked out of the bathroom while drying his hair. The beauty on the bed was still waiting for Yihua. If I don't hug her, I won't be able to fall asleep. Where is that dog of yours? I haven't seen it for a few days. Hearing the dog barking outside, Qingye asked curiously. Yihua took off his shoes and laid on the bed. Qingye conveniently leaned over, and Yihua very naturally hugged onto Qingye's shoulder. Everything was so smooth. The two seemed to have forgotten about the promise that they made in the past. There is someone outside, Yihua said faintly and turned off the light. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua and said gently, "What do you want to eat tomorrow morning?" "Let's go to the street to buy a jianbing. It is rather close," Yihua said lightly. "Are you concerned about me?" "You are thinking too much. I am concerned about the child." "Humph. I don't want to bother with you. I am going to sleep." Yihua laughed lightly and looked at the night sky outside the window. "I hope that Lai Gu will not be as mischievous as before and not make too much of a commotion." Caesar was famous in the assassin world. As long as the target was targeted by him, the target would not be able to escape. But today, his plan was actually spoiled by a dog. He simply lost his demeanor. Borrowing the darkness, Caesar jumped from one of the tall buildings in the city. "I should just go back and eat a packet of instant noodles, wash up and sleep. I will think about it again tomorrow." On the other hand, Qingye is really beautiful. If only she was still a virgin. It is a pity that she is already pregnant with someone else's child. Forget it, forget it. It is not like I have never ruthlessly destroyed a flower before. After being an assassin for 7 to 8 years, I comprehended a principle: as long as I act well, all beauties will have to support the wall to walk. Woo woo woo! Caesar's body froze, and he almost tripped over his own feet. He saw that the dog had appeared at the corner of the street again. Oh my God, how did it do it? It actually ran in front of him. Moreover, its gaze revealed a deep sense of disdain. How could a dog have such an expression, and what right did it have to look down on itself? No, why should he care about a dog's thoughts? Maybe it was just because they looked alike. Unknowingly, Lai Gu actually grinned foolishly. However, in Caesar's eyes, Lai Gu was ridiculing him as an idiot. No one has ever dared to ridicule me before, let alone a dog. I am going to eat dog meat today. Although eating dog meat in summer will make me sweat, at worst, I will just take a bath. Caesar shouted gravely, and the air around his body started moving even though there was no wind. Placing his right fist on his waist, he suddenly punched out. In a split second, the leaves on the ground started moving. How is this dog stew? This is meat stew. Lai Gu looked at the incoming fist indifferently, then raised his front right paw and stretched out a small piece of his fingernail. Why is it a small piece of his fingernail? Because my women said that my fingernail is too sharp, and it hurts when I grab onto them. One must know that Lai Gu dotes on women a lot. Not only did they trim their fingernails, they even painted their fingernails with red nail polish. What a sissy dog. Bang! A wave of air spread out to the surroundings, and the leaves on the ground rustled. Some of the smaller trees were even snapped off by the wave of air. Caesar's gaze became grave. Why do I feel that my fist is holding onto a small and thin thing? He raised his head to take a look. Why was this dog still in front of him? Wasn't it supposed to be punched to death by him? Wrong. It's my fist. Caesar slowly retracted his fist, and looking at the dog's fingernail that was painted with red nail polish, Caesar's expression immediately changed. Without thinking too much, he immediately distanced himself from the dog. How is this possible? This dog actually used its fingernail to block my fist. Although Lai Gu didn't use his full strength, it is still not something that a dog can block. Who sent you? Woo-woo, Imperial translation. Idiot. If you have the guts, then say something. Woo-woo. Chapter 71. You. Why are you only whining and not barking? Caesar questioned. It seems like only a husky would whine. Actually, what kind of situation is it already? And you are still thinking about this question. Lai Gu poked his own head. What a foolish human. If I bark, wouldn't I become a real dog? I am a dragon. His honor's mount. Caesar didn't dare to be careless anymore. This dog's strength is extraordinary. I have to be careful when dealing with it. Slightly bending his body, Caesar pulled out the dagger from his calf and sneered. No matter what your purpose is today, it will not change the fact that you will become an object in my pot. Do you know the origin of the dagger in my hand? The material used to create this dagger came from a meteorite. It is able to cut through iron like mud. I call it kiss of death. Those who have seen it before are all in hell. Lai Gu straightforwardly laid down on the ground. Listening to Caesar's ruthless words, it was as if he had returned to the past. When his honor brought him into battle, he would frequently encounter situations like this, and he would have to listen to his honor's opening speech for an hour. Fuse with my cultivation technique again, I will become a phantom, go and die. Little dog. As an assassin, Caesar naturally wouldn't face his enemy head-on. He was able to fuse with the darkness and become one with the darkness. Adding with the dagger in his hand, he became the king of the darkness. Unfortunately, the one he met today was Lai Gu. If he met Tang Wushuang, a fight would definitely happen. Lai Gu laid on the ground and stretched out his claws again. Just that, his claws became slightly longer. A white light flashed, bringing along a dazzling golden light. This was the sound of metal colliding with metal, and also brought out sparks. Caesar, who was in the darkness, was stupefied, looking at that big dog, but his face was filled with disbelief. Attack again. Bang. Sparks rang out once again. Caesar looked at the dagger in his hand blankly. Right now, 2 deep grooves had already appeared on the dagger. How is this possible? Kiss of death is something that I snatched with my life. Its might is definitely one of the top 3 daggers in the world. But now, 2 grooves were actually cut out by the dog's claws. Lai Gu slowly stood up. I thought that his honor had given me a big mission, but in the end, it was still like this. I can't even compare to those prehistoric beasts. If only I had a summoning ability like the gluttonous monster, I wouldn't have to personally make a move. It is still much more comfortable to be in the gentle fragrance. 3 beautiful women, furthermore, all of them had eaten the meat of the golden crane. There is simply no one else. Impossible. Caesar's eyes were red, and the blue veins on his temples were bulging. The muscles all over his body instantly swelled up crazily, causing his black clothes to stretch. 18 deadly blades. This was Caesar's final trump card. He sacrificed his own speed to increase his strength. The strength that he increased was not just a little bit, but it was very majestic. Lai Gu looked at Caesar, who had disappeared, and shook his head. Why is there a need for a weak human to struggle? Can't he just kneel down and wait for death? It opened its bloody mouth and bit down at the void. As Lai Gu chewed, blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth and dripped onto the grassland. Vomit, a dagger was spat out by Lai Gu. This piece of meat doesn't have any special taste. I really don't know why gluttonous monsters like to eat it so much. 18 blades of absolute killing. Caesar stared blankly at his right arm that had been bitten off in half. That was his strongest technique, but the dog had bitten off his arm before the first slash had even begun. Looking at the blood flowing out of the dog's mouth, he realized that his hand had already been eaten by it. Damn it! And now, Caesar finally knew why this dog had a disdainful look in its eyes. Just where did this dog come from? Could it be that my old enemy came looking for me? Seems like I can't continue wasting time like this. Escape is the best plan. Lai Gu licked his nose and instantly disappeared. This fellow actually wants to escape. Do you really think that you can escape? Naive human. In an instant, a black figure smashed onto the grassland from the sky like a cannonball. In the huge crater that had a diameter of 10 meters, the legendary king of assassins, Caesar, laid on the ground. However, he had already lost his former glory and was already on the verge of death. Just now, in that instant, Caesar didn't even know what hit him. His fur was like a whip, his entire body felt like it was falling apart, and right now, he didn't even have the strength to move a finger. Slowly walking into the crater, Lai Gu looked at Caesar, seemingly waiting for the other party to beg for mercy. After waiting for a long time, the other party still didn't beg for mercy. This is very illogical. Perhaps, after biting off one of his arms, he will beg for mercy. Without saying anything, Lai Gu directly bit off Caesar's left arm. However, he didn't eat it. He was preparing to roast it later on, not knowing how it would taste. As an assassin, Caesar didn't make a sound, even if both of his arms were bitten off. This man isn't bad. He still didn't beg for mercy even until now. Seeing that his courage is commendable, I shall grant him a quick death. Of course, I still have to let him know who exactly killed him. At this time, Lai Gu spat out a sentence and said gravely, Weak human, for you to be able to die under his honor's command, it is heaven's grace, properly repent with this grace. Caesar, who had lost too much blood, felt like he had regained his consciousness. His eyes were wide open. This dog was actually a lackey. There is still someone above it. How is this possible? I have never seen this kind of situation before. What is your honor's name? Caesar asked powerlessly. Weak human is not worthy to know his honor's name, however. You should feel honored to be able to enter my stomach. My stomach. Stomach. Fear finally appeared in Caesar's eyes. Because he didn't have his arms anymore, he could only use his legs to move backwards. Ligu smiled and said, "That's right, I plan to roast it and eat it. I heard that the taste is not bad. The supermarket is closed at this time. If not, I would have gone to buy cumin powder." Caesar collapsed. He tried his best to climb out of the deep hole, but it was to no avail. When he turned his head around, it was no longer a dog's head, a huge dragon's head had appeared, and it was a dragon's head that didn't have any flesh and blood. As it opened its mouth, Caesar saw a black light condensing, then shooting towards him. His entire body felt warm, and his consciousness gradually disappeared. I returned to watching just to act cool and become a CEO's bodyguard, then step on the rich second generation. Why did the story end before it even started? Why? Ligu licked his lips. I shall treat it as a midnight snack. I am indeed a bit hungry. I swallowed it in one gulp. I feel that roasted is not bad. If I add some seasoning, it would also be a delicious dish. Go home and sleep. Now that I have a physical body, I can finally experience the feeling of being a human. My claws are truly a bit small. This time, those 3 women didn't have anything to say, right? I instantly unlocked 8,231 different positions, and I will only stop when the daily transaction amount reaches 1 trillion. Evil creature. Just as Lai Gu was reminiscing about the delicacy, a man who wore a green gown descended from the sky with a graceful posture. This opening would definitely be given 60 points, because Lai Gu had seen even more exaggerated openings. However, in the end, he was still beaten until he kneeled on the ground. Towards this man who suddenly appeared, Lai Gu did not have the mood to bother with him. I have to rush back and test the effect of having a human body. Chapter 72. Evil creature, watch my sword. Jian Yuan shouted lightly, then spread open both of his arms. The long sword on his back was immediately unsheathed, then transformed into a silver light and struck towards Lai Gu's head. I really can't eat anymore. Gluttonous monster is really a big eater. Burp. Lai Gu couldn't help but burp, causing Jian Yuan's brows to wrinkle. Why does this dog's expression look so much like a human? Looking around, it seemed like a battle had just taken place. Just when Lai Gu was preparing to insta-kill his opponent, a human figure appeared in the sky once again. The figure descended from the sky with a loud bang, causing a huge crater to appear on the ground. That flying sword was actually stepped on by that person, and what's more, it was stepped on by a high heel. Lai Gu slightly raised his head. I'll give this appearance 90 points. He has an imposing manner, adding on that mysterious and seductive back view, I'll give another 5 points. As for the remaining 5 points, I'll just have to look at his face. But how could this smell be so familiar? He seemed to have smelled it somewhere before. Young lady, what are you doing? Jian Yuan asked gravely. The clothes that the woman in front of me is wearing, is a bit exaggerated. It could be seen that she was wearing a golden mask, and her long hair was tied into a ponytail. That attire. Why does it look like a high school student's school uniform? The little blue skirt was rather short, and the pair of red boots that she was wearing gave her a queen-like appearance. How can you bully a dog? You even made it bleed. Lai Gu. Jian Yuan was speechless. Miss, you have misunderstood, I didn't. Before Jian Yuan could finish speaking, Lai Gu let out a whimper and immediately fell onto the ground, looking as if he was about to die. When he saw the girl who turned her head around, Lai Gu was startled. Isn't this his honor's sister-in-law? Although Lai Gu was wearing a mask, he was still unable to hide from Lai Gu's dog eyes. That's right. The person who came was precisely Qing Yutong. In actuality, she had also discovered the existence of Caesar a long time ago, and only after her brother-in-law and big sister had turned off the lights did she go out of the house, and just so happened to see that the shadow was secretly running away, so she followed all the way here. Seeing that the McDonald's was still in business, she went into the McDonald's to buy a McFlurry, and when she came out of the McDonald's, she discovered that she had lost him, and only after searching for a long time did she finally find him. He didn't expect to see a dog abuser. It was really hateful. The dog was beaten to this state. Blood kept flowing out of its mouth. How pitiful.
Miss, may I know your name?
Qing Yutong rubbed onto Lai Gu's head, and the latter's face was filled with comfort. His honor's sister-in-law is indeed extraordinary. Her hands are so soft. Qing Yutong snorted, then said gravely, "You can call me pretty girl warrior. Punishing evil and promoting good is my specialty." She must be a Chunibu girl who has been poisoned by cartoons. Punishing evil and promoting good? Your evil is right behind you. Jian Yuan was also a little stunned. Sailor Moon warriors? All right, listen to me. You've really misunderstood. This dog is not an ordinary dog. It's definitely a vicious beast. I was just about to clean it up. Lai Gu fell onto the ground and moaned powerlessly. It seemed to be saying, how can a dog like me still have any lethality? He is lying. Looking at how miserable Lai Gu was, Qing Yutong snorted, I hate people like you who beat dogs the most. Hypocrites, draw your sword. Miss, this dog was alive and kicking just now. Don't be fooled. Besides, my sword is still under your feet, Jian Yuan said in embarrassment. Qing Yutong kicked the sword under her feet back to Lai Gu. If you want to keep your dog's life, you have to pass through me first. Jian Yuan was having a headache. Why is this miss so persistent? To protect a vicious beast, if I were to leave, what should I do if this miss gets attacked? If I were to uncover this dog's true face, this miss would still fall in love with me. This is truly killing two birds with one stone. Miss, what do I have to do for you to believe my words? I only believe in the facts in front of me. To actually bully a dog, you are a bad person. Lai Gu felt that what his honor's sister-in-law said was right. I am a bad person. Jian Yuan had never seen this kind of girl before. Miss, I am a cultivator. Seeing that a vicious beast is here, I had no choice but to subdue it. If I have offended you in any way, I hope that you can forgive me. Jian Yuan said gravely. I definitely have to subdue this vicious beast, so I might as well just knock her out. I hope that this miss will not blame me. Qing Yutong twisted her neck, then shrugged her shoulders. Come. Miss, sorry for offending you. Jian Yuan said lightly, and his body gradually faded. This speed. When Jian Yuan reappeared, he was already behind Qing Yutong, and with a chop of his hand, he wanted to knock Qing Yutong out. However, when the chop of his hand chopped down, it only chopped onto the air. To be more precise, it chopped onto Qing Yutong's shadow. This caused Jian Yuan's gaze to become serious, and he prepared to dodge, but it was already too late. The back of his head felt a pain, and he fainted. Qing Yutong clapped her hands. Competing with me in speed, you are truly looking for shit in the toilet. Lai Gu's mouth was wide open. His honor's sister-in-law actually has this kind of strength. This is simply 666. However, wasn't she in Qing Yutong? Why did she suddenly appear here? Little darling, do you want big sister to send you to the hospital? Qing Yutong found a rope from God knows where and tied Jian Yuan up, then hung him on a tree. Only then did Qing Yutong arrive in front of Lai Gu. Lai Gu did not want to go to the hospital. He slowly stood up and had an expression that said, even if I die, I don't want to be treated. Qing Yutong could be seen grabbing onto Lai Gu's tail. You can't leave. If you leave, you will die. Dragging Lai Gu along, Qing Yutong walked towards the pet hospital. Lai Gu's heart was filled with despair. Your Honor, quickly come and control your sister-in-law. She is simply too savage. She actually dragged me all the way here, and she even said that she is a dog lover. That is all nonsense. When Lai Gu came out from the pet hospital, an iron chain was tied around his neck, and the iron chain was even that super thick kind. De Huang, I saved your life today. In the future, follow me and eat and drink well. Qing Yutong said happily. If I remember correctly, Big Sister is most afraid of big dogs. Lai Gu's eyes were filled with despair, but he did not dare to be disrespectful towards Qing Yutong. De Huang, why did you even paint your nails with color, and it's even red, so sissy, your previous owner was so perverted. Qing Yutong held onto Lai Gu's hand and walked on the empty street. It was too uncoordinated. Lai Gu was very tired. They are all just my maids, Your Honor, save me. Your sister-in-law is going to strangle me to death. If I were to be seen by his honor like this, where would I even have any face left? No, I definitely can't. I have to run. Lai Gu could be seen sprinting and instantly breaking free from De Huang's grasp. Qing Yutong snorted. Here comes another one who is competing with me in speed. De Huang, you won't be able to escape from me. Just obediently accept your fate. Lai Gu felt that his honor's wife is much better now. She is so gentle. This sister-in-law is simply too savage. This De Huang seems to have some skills. He actually disappeared. Qing Yutong stood at the intersection and looked around. Master, perhaps what that person said is true. That dog is a ferocious beast. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. If he really is a ferocious beast, why didn't he attack me just now? And he even had an expression of despair on his face. He is too cute. Chapter 73. I know, but this is a battle of attrition. It won't be defeated in a short period of time. Qing Yutong said. So we have to complete missions and obtain mission points. Then we can exchange them for useful prizes. Qing Yutong said petulantly. You want me to hug your thighs, yet you don't give me advance. How am I supposed to get chicken dinner? Master, don't be impatient. Wasn't your brother-in-law very weak in the beginning? Now he has become stronger. Forget it. I am going home to sleep. I am so sleepy. Who knows where that black-clothed man ran off to? Qing Yutong yawned and said doubtfully. Never would she have thought that she had already entered Lai Gu's stomach. Who asked Master to be so gluttonous? Who asked McDonald's to not close in the middle of the night, and then suddenly want to eat sweets? Should I go and buy one? The next morning, when Yi Hua woke up from his sleep, the first thing he did was to look at his chest. Luckily, there was no more saliva. Seems like Qing Ya's bad habit was finally changed, but another bad habit appeared, hugging onto me like an octopus, making me look like a female hoodlum. Yi Hua, what time is it? The beauty in his embrace suddenly asked. 7 o'clock. Yi Hua took a look at the clock. Oh, let me sleep again. Rubbing onto Yi Hua's chest, Qing Ya pursed her lips. Yi Hua asked faintly. What? Not going to work today? Didn't you say not to let me? I already told you yesterday, don't talk, I am very sleepy. Qing Ya only fell asleep at 1 o'clock last night, expressing that she didn't want to get up. This Qing Ya, is she treating me as a pillow? However, sleeping on the Supreme Overlord's chest, in this world, only this woman can do that. Of course, there is also another woman who slept on it. 1 hour passed very quickly. Yi Hua patted that sexy perky butt. It's about time, get up. Qing Ya let out a heavy nasal sound. She was actually acting coquettishly. Yi Hua didn't care so much. He directly carried Qing Ya and walked into the washroom. Qing Ya, who was half asleep, hung on Yi Hua's body like a koala bear. Stand up straight, Yi Hua said lightly. Qing Ya released Yi Hua petulantly and said coquettishly, Why are you like this? Brush your teeth and wash your face. Then go and buy breakfast. Humph. Quickly get out. I want to go to the toilet. Qing Ya pushed Yi Hua out of the door, then fiercely closed the door. This woman pushed him again. Looking at her own reflection in the mirror, Qing Ya couldn't help but stroke her own reflection. So beautiful. After washing up, Qing Ya regained her usual demeanor and asked faintly, How many Chinese jianbing do you want to eat? Yi Hua walked into the bathroom. One will do. Qing Ya wore an ordinary sportswear, walked out of the bedroom, and knocked on her sister's door. Yutong. Big sister, what are you doing? It's so early in the morning. Do you want to eat Chinese jianbing? Qing Ya asked. Don't want to. Qing Yutong had also eaten a mala chicken burger and fried chicken wings last night, and she had eaten until she was stuffed. Qing Ya shook her head helplessly and walked out of the bar by herself. These two scoundrels, they kept on saying that they wanted to take care of me, a pregnant woman, but in the end, it is me who is taking care of them. Around 10 minutes later, Qing Ya came back. While holding on to 2 Chinese crepes, Qing Ya had a curious look on her face. What's the matter? Yi Hua took over the Chinese jianbing from Qing Ya's hands and asked. It's nothing. Just now, I heard from someone who was jogging that there was a man who was wearing an ancient costume tied up at a certain park in the west of the city, and there was even a sign hanging on his chest, saying that the man was a dog abuser. A dagger that was stained with blood was also found at the scene. Qingye lightly bit on a mouth of her Chinese jianbing and said,
Yihua didn't think too much into it. And then?
After that, he was taken away by the police. It was said that even the rope couldn't be untied. It's really mysterious. Qingye said with a deadpan expression, and her appearance was a bit cute. Suddenly, the door of the room was pushed open by Qing Yutong, and Qing Yutong, who was wearing a headscarf, looked at the two of them. Brother-in-law, big sister, why didn't you call me to eat breakfast? Qing Yutong, can you knock on the door before you enter? I've already asked you. Qingye criticized harshly. If I were to do that with Yihua, what would I do if I were to bump into him? My God, what am I thinking? How could I possibly do that with him? Sis, can you take sleep talk seriously?
Go and buy it yourself,
Qingye said petulantly. Big sister, I am still young. Do I have to go out like this? Eat mine then. I won't be able to eat so much anyways. Qingye took out her own fruit jianbing, and Qing Yutong took it over happily. What are you two chatting about? Qingye said faintly. Nothing much, I was just tied up in the park by myself. There was such a thing? What happened after that? Qing Yutong asked curiously. He was taken away by the police. Yutong, don't talk about this first. If you want to broadcast, big sister has already done it for you. If you have time in these few days, go and do some publicity. Qing Yutong said dispiritedly. Got it. What's wrong? You don't want to do it anymore? Seeing her little sister's expression, Qingye knew that her little sister was thinking of backing out. Qing Yutong had been abused for an entire day, and her confidence had long been gone. At this time, Yihua asked, Qingye, did those people transfer the money over? What money? Without waiting for Qingye to reply, Qing Yutong rushed to ask first. Qingye laughed lightly. Your brother-in-law won 100 billion last night. What? 100 billion? Brother-in-law, please take care of me. Qing Yutong instantly sat beside Yihua, pulled onto Yihua's arm and said sweetly. Yihua sized her up for a while. Her looks aren't bad. Qing Yutong very cooperated with Yihua and struck a pose, then lightly bit her lower lip. Brother-in-law, how is it? Scram! Qingye ruthlessly sent out a palm strike. Qing Yutong rubbed her head and said pitifully, Big sister, why are you being so serious? I was just joking. Qingye, I am asking you a question. Has the money arrived yet? Yihua asked faintly. Yihua, those people won't give you money. In an instant, Qing Yutong was in a bad mood. Who is so arrogant to not pay the money after losing? Tell me, I will go and check the accounts. Not paying? Yihua smiled lightly. At that time, it won't just be a matter of paying back the money. Just when Qingye was about to continue speaking, her phone suddenly rang. Looking at the caller ID, it was actually her father who called. Qingye let out a breath and answered the call. Qingye, what was going on last night? Qing Huaxian questioned on the phone. I received a call from Xiao family early in the morning today. My daughter actually gambled with them. Is she crazy? Most importantly, she even won. Qingye didn't expect that her father would actually ask her with this kind of tone, and her mood immediately became bad. Nothing much, I just won 100 billion. Qingye said faintly. Chapter 74. A loss is a loss. It's up to them whether they want to give it or not. As for that Long Out Yen, who knows where he went? Qing Huaxian was fuming with anger. I'm telling you, let's just forget about this matter. Don't even think about the money. Hurry up and apologize to Long Out Yen and ask your sister to work in the company. Don't idle around every day. Apologize? Dad, if you want to go, you go. I'm hanging up. Qingye immediately hung up the phone. Father really changed. He wasn't like this in the past. Qing Yutong held onto her big sister's delicate hand and consoled. Big sister, don't be afraid. Qingye let out a deep sigh and took a look at Yihua, who was at the side. This fellow didn't even say a single word of consolation to me. Suddenly, the phone rang again. Qingye thought that it was her father who called her again, but in the end, it was actually the head of the company's finance department who called her. An excited inquiry sounded from the phone. CEO Qing, the company's account has an additional 50 billion this? 50 billion. Whose is it? Qingye was startled, and didn't come back to her senses for a moment. 50 billion, that's cash. It's someone called Wang Debao. Qingya really didn't expect that this Wang Debao would transfer money to her the next day. This speed of returning money is really fast. All right, I understand. CEO Qing, is this all right? The finance head was a bit nervous. This sum of money was equivalent to the price of the entire company. I'm fine. After hanging up the phone, Qingya was still a bit in disbelief. Based on Wang family's strength, they could completely disregard this matter, but I didn't expect that this Wang Debao would be so forthright, as expected of a prodigal son. Wang Debao's squandering would always bring him benefits. Even if it was this time, Wang Debao was indirectly hugging onto Yihua's thigh. Qingya, who returned the debt? Yihua asked curiously. Just now, I was still thinking about how to step on the debt to make it interesting. It's Wang Debao. Him? Not bad. Yihua said faintly. I have a whole new level of respect for that Wang Debao.
50 billion is not a small sum of money, and to be able to settle it in such a short period of time, he has some ability and is also a man of his words.
He is not a bad human. Qing Yutong asked dumbfoundedly, Big sister, did you receive 50 billion already? Yes. Qing Yutong immediately hugged onto her big sister's thigh. Big sister, isn't Yutong very obedient? I have to take a look. Qingya snorted. Sis, in the future, Yutong can only rely on you and brother-in-law. I won't leave even if you beat me to death. This was an iron rice bowl, and he had to hold on to it. In the future, he wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing, and he could just eat and wait for death. How happy would that be? Yihua went silent for a while, then said, Qingya, give that Xiaoyi a call and tell him to return the money within 3 days. If not, he will have to bear the consequences. Yihua, forget it. Qingya was a bit worried. Right now, I have already returned half of the money, and this is already the best result. Logically speaking, if I were to return this 50 billion, the effect would be even better. Yihua just didn't like Qingya's habit of being afraid of this and that. On this point, Qing Yutong was even worse off. Yutong, come and fight. We'll only give them 3 days. All right, I will call. Qing Yutong would not have so many misgivings.
A debt owed must be paid back, a life owed must be paid back, no matter what. Qing Yutong was a movie queen in the entertainment circle, and there were quite a few big figures who called her, and of course that included Xiao family. Thinking back then, this Xiao Yi even had some thoughts towards me. He called Xiao Yi directly. And Xiao Yi was also very curious as to why this movie queen would suddenly call him. Could it be that she has thought things through and is preparing to offer herself to me? Yutong, what's the matter? Xiao Yi asked. Return the money. Xiao Yi. Yutong, when did I owe you money? You couldn't have remembered wrongly, right? 50 billion, I will give you 3 days' time. Qing Yutong didn't give Xiao Yi any face and directly went straight to the point. Speaking of the 50 billion, Xiao Yi immediately knew what was going on. Yutong, what matter can't we talk about properly? What is there to talk about with you? Quickly return the money. If you don't return the money, then just wait for me to come and trample on your debt. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong hung up the phone, then raised her eyebrows towards Yihua, seemingly saying how was her performance. Qingya held on to her forehead. These two people are truly not afraid of anything, to even dare to trample on Xiao family's money. Brother-in-law, when the time comes, bring me along to trample on your debt. Qing Yutong was already rubbing her palms together. Yesterday night was not enough to satisfy her craving. The other party was too weak. In actuality, the other party from yesterday night was also not weak. He was also a well-known figure in the cultivation world. Just that, he met with a beautiful girl warrior. This Chunibyu girl who was poisoned by cartoons. This kind of matter is still not up to us. Yihua said gravely. If I have to personally take action for everything, then what's the use of having subordinates? Are those strong people who personally take action really strong people? Perhaps they are just trying to get a sense of existence. Big sister, look at brother-in-law. He is starting to act cool even though he is not smoking. Qing Yutong said tenderly. She felt that what brother-in-law said was super cool. Qingya laughed bitterly, then said tenderly, All right, Yihua, don't mind it too much. If they don't want to return the money, we can't do anything about it. Yihua did not say anything. Some things do not need to be explained. There is no need to. I want to see how this Xiao Yi is going to choose. After all, the lives of his entire family are at his whim. Right now, Xiao Yi was currently sitting on the plane back to Zijin City, completely unaware of the seriousness of the matter. And Nangong Sini, who was beside him, didn't think much of it. Thus the two of them didn't take it seriously. After eating breakfast, Yi Hua and his sister-in-law started playing games again. Qingya made some fruits and sat at the side, watching the two of them play. Feeling like she was a servant, she bought a computer and joined in as well. As expected, Gao Hai City's famous cold and elegant female CEO was also led astray. If she were to give birth to a child, she would be able to eat chicken dinner. The addition of his wife undoubtedly increased the difficulty of the game for Yi Hua. Qingya was originally a woman who refused to admit defeat, and that serious appearance of hers made it seem as if she was having a meeting, and furthermore, she was even giving out orders. In a blink of an eye, she had turned into a female strategist. Yi Hua was still very gratified. Qingya still has the ability in this aspect, not bad. On the other side, Wei Chong encountered his first date in his life and was currently pondering on how to go out. After all, it was a date with Xiao Tang, and it seemed like he was also attending her classmate's birthday party. All of these are secondary. The main point is how I should go out and not throw his honor's face. I remember the idol drama that I watched last night. The male lead still had to dress up before going out. I can learn from him. Wei Chong could be seen taking out a facial mask and pasting it on his face. Then turning on his computer, he began learning how a man should dress up.
Moisturizer? I still have to use this? Foundation? Thresh. This is too sissy, right?
I don't want to be like Lai Gu, who painted his nails with nail polish. Lai Gu. Fuck, that was not painted by me, it was painted by my woman.
At this time, Wei Chang's phone rang.
Without even thinking, he knew that it was Xiao Tang. His honor wouldn't call me, and even more so, other people wouldn't call me. The phone is just a decoration, but recently, it wasn't just a decoration anymore, because Xiao Tang would call me from time to time and ask me about it.
Chapter 75.
Uncle Wei, I am here to pick you up. Tang Wei's gentle voice rang out from the phone. Wei Chong felt very comfortable listening to it. Xiao Tang, you are here. Come up and have a seat first. Just that. When Tang Wei saw Wei Chong, who was currently putting on a facial mask, she was stupefied. However, she was still very touched in her heart. Does Uncle Wei want to become younger, so that he would be more compatible with me?
Actually, there really isn't a need to do this.
Tang Wei took off her facial mask and said, Uncle Wei, you are already handsome enough. If you are any more handsome, how are other people going to live?
Xiao Tang, you are very beautiful today, Wei Chong said with a smile.
The current Wei Chong was very good at speaking. Recently he had been studying some love courses in his mind, and Wei Chong concluded that there was only one simple thing, and that was to praise a girl. That way, the girl would be happy. Just look at Xiao Tang. However, it must be said that Xiao Tang was very beautiful today. Her jet-black long hair was not tied into a ponytail. Rather, it was draped over her shoulders. She was wearing a blue t-shirt, cropped jeans, and white sneakers, looking incomparably pure. Uncle Wei, why does your mouth seem to be smeared with honey today? Tang Wei said shyly, then pinched the corner of Wei Chang's mouth. The gluttonous monster of the 7 deadly sins was pinched by a human woman. My God. To say, what is this? A supreme overlord was even pushed down by a human woman. As expected, like boss like subordinate, moral conduct is contagious. Towards his girlfriend pinching the corner of his mouth, Wei Chong only went into a daze for a moment, then stretched out his hand and caressed Tang Wei's head. The latter squinted her beautiful eyes. Just like a kitten, she seemed to be enjoying it. Xiao Tang, wait a moment. I will go and change my clothes. Tang Wei replied obediently. Is this what love is? It feels so sweet. Uncle Wei is such a good man. Tang Wei's evaluation of Wei Chong is truly on point. Wei Chong is so good that he doesn't even blink his eyes when he kills. No, he doesn't even blink his eyes when he eats people. Just like what Lai Gu said, this is a gluttonous monster. The more he eats, the stronger he becomes. This was the first time he went out on a date with his girlfriend. Wei Chong took off his daily security uniform and wore a casual black suit. This suit could be considered as imitating his honor. Just that, he bought it 3 years ago, and he had never worn it until now, because Wei Chang's life was very simple. When Wei Chong appeared in front of Tang Wei,
Tang Wei was completely dumbfounded. When Uncle Wei wore formal attire, he simply looked like no one else. His mature aura assaulted her senses, causing Tang Wei to sink into a love-struck state. Lil Tang, let's go. Wei Chong held his dumbfounded girlfriend's hand and said with a smile. Tang Wei discovered that Uncle Wei was very different today. Especially his smile, it was too charming. Uncle Wei was even more handsome than the boss, and his smile was so warm. As the saying goes, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Tang Wei was currently in such a state. Uncle Wei, I'll drive. You sit. Lil Tang, let me do it. Uncle Wei, are you sure? Of course, Uncle Wei's stamina is pretty good. Tang Wei instantly blushed. Uncle Wei actually knows how to flirt. Wei Chong could be seen riding on the little yellow bicycle, and Tang Wei was seen sitting on the back of the bicycle. Tang Wei's hands were wrapped around Wei Chang's waist, and she lightly leaned on Wei Chang's back. To her, a simple bicycle was enough. She would rather sit on a bicycle and laugh than sit on a BMW and cry. With Tang Wei's looks, don't mention a BMW, she can even cry in a Bentley. Wei Chong was mature and handsome, while Tang Wei was pure and beautiful. The two of them were a perfect match. Coincidentally, the place where the birthday banquet was being held this time was the Pin 1 clubhouse. After placing the little yellow bicycle at its rightful place, the two of them walked towards the Pin 1 clubhouse. Tang Wei's hands were hugging onto Wei Chang's arm, and her beautiful face was brimming with a blissful smile. Wei Wei, over here. From afar, Feng Qian waved her hand and shouted. Qian Qian, Tang Wei replied happily. The reason why I brought my boyfriend out today was to tell everyone that I already have a boyfriend. Although he isn't a famous flower, he still has a boyfriend. When Feng Qian saw that Tang Wei brought Uncle Wei along, she was also startled. However, she still quickly adjusted herself and shouted, Uncle Wei. Xiaofan is here too. Wei Chong smiled. Different from Yi Hua, Wei Chang's smile was always on his face, and it seemed to be easier for him to assimilate into humans' thoughts. Uncle Wei, you are so handsome today. Feng Qian sized up Wei Chong. In the past, Wei Chong would often wear a security uniform, but today, he is actually wearing a suit. Tang Wei was very proud. Of course my Uncle Wei is handsome. Let's go in. Tang Wei said tenderly. Qi Shu Win is coming too. Jia Jiaojia seems to have invited him too. Feng Qian shrugged. Tang Wei nodded her head. Student Qi is coming too, let's wait for him then. Towards this Qi Shu Win who helped her, Tang Wei felt that he was rather good, and he was rather humorous at times. Recently, he seems to have changed quite a bit. Boom boom boom. Suddenly, a series of rumbling sounds rang out from afar, and a BMW motorcycle could be seen driving over at lightning speed, steadily stopping at the roadside. Qi Shu Win took off his helmet and said with a smile, Sorry for coming late. It's fine, we just arrived not too long ago. Tang Wei said with a gentle smile. Tang Wei's smile truly warmed one's heart. Qi Shu Win smiled, then suddenly saw that Tang Wei's hand was holding onto this handsome uncle. Why does this uncle look so familiar? I remember now. He is the one who came to help Tang Wei that day. Looking at Tang Wei's intimate expression, this uncle should be her uncle. I should put on a good performance today. Hello, uncle. Qi Shu Win stretched out his hand and said with a smile. If it was Yi Hua, he would definitely not stretch out his hand. However, Wei Chong was different. After being a security captain for 5 years, he was already proficient in human communication. Hello. The two of them shook hands in a friendly manner. Uncle, you look like a 20-year-old young man, so handsome. Qi Shu Win took the opportunity to flatter Wei Chong. Tang Wei was very happy too. Of course my Uncle Wei is the best. Why does Qi Shu Win feel that something is wrong? This shouldn't be the expression that a niece should have towards her uncle. Something is wrong. Qi Shu Win did not ask much, and the four of them walked into Pin E clubhouse. When the few of them arrived at the lobby, Wei Chong did not have any reaction. I have seen even more powerful people before, and this is Qi Shu Win's first time coming here. When had Tang Wei and Feng Qian ever come to such a high-class place before? They were shocked by the luxurious atmosphere in front of them, and immediately felt that they were out of place. Last night, Xiao booked the entire place, and it seemed that there weren't a lot of people. However, today, The place was packed with people. For some of them, it was also their first time coming to such a high-class place. Just like Tang Wei, they sized up the place curiously. Meanwhile, those men and women who were dressed in Western suits and leather shoes revealed out a deep look of disdain. They felt that the rules of this Pin-E clubhouse should be changed. Not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come here. Which room is Jia Jiaojie in? Qi Shuwen asked. Feng Qian took out her phone and took a look at her WeChat, room 10. Chapter 76. In Long'an City, Jia Jiaojie could be considered to have quite a bit of face. To be more precise, it was the Jia family. It wasn't easy for Jia Jiaojie to get this room number 10. If this matter were to be spread out, Jia Jiaojie's face would also become famous. The four of them walked through the long corridor and found room 10 at the back of the first-class clubhouse. Qi Shuwen was still a gentleman and took the initiative to open the door. Taking a look around, the size of the room was around 120 square meters. Although the decoration of the room was expensive, there was still some difference compared to the room that Yi Hua went to yesterday. At the side of the room, there was a small bedroom, and the bedroom was still very humane. The bedroom was specially prepared for those men and women who couldn't take it anymore. There were a few youngsters sitting inside, and of course, Jia Jiaojie, the main character, was included as well. Jia Jiaojie was quite pretty, but compared to Tang Wei, she was a bit lacking. Especially the arrogance between Jia Jiaojie's brows. It was really unknown who gave her that confidence. Beside Jia Jiaojie sat 3 men and a woman. They were dressed in expensive clothes, and just like Jia Jiaojie, they exuded an air of arrogance. Looking at Wei Chong appeared to be extremely natural. This is what it means to truly become one with someone. Even Yi Hua, who was a supreme overlord, wasn't able to become as natural as Wei Chong. Faintly, Wei Chong even gave off the aura of someone in a superior position. Our beauty Tang is here. Jia Jiaojie stood up with a smile, but there was a hint of evil in her eyes. The 3 young men who were seated looked towards Tang Wei and couldn't help but nod their heads. Tang Wei was indeed a rare beauty. Her pure temperament was already very hard to find. Tang Wei politely smiled. Jia Jiaojie, happy birthday. Don't stand on ceremony. Everyone, come and have a seat. Who is this? Jia Jiaojie asked curiously. Actually, she already knew what kind of relationship this handsome uncle had with Tang Wei, and she had to thank Feng Qian for this. He is called Wei Chong, my boyfriend. Tang Wei introduced with a gentle smile. Wei Chong was also very polite. Hello, everyone. If this Wei Chong was seen by the other 6 sins, they would definitely think that Wei Chong had taken the wrong medicine. He, who fed on humans, could be so humble. The 3 young men didn't think much of it. Obviously, they already knew Wei Chang's identity. On the other hand, Qi Shuwen was stupefied. Isn't this Tang Wei's uncle? How did he become Tang Wei's boyfriend? Isn't this too ridiculous? I feel like he can already be Tang Wei's father. Oh, so you are Tang Wei's boyfriend. May I know where you are working? Jia Jiaojie picked up the red wine on the table, shook it, and asked with a teasing tone. Tang Wei frowned slightly. She didn't expect that Jia Jiaojie would still be like this. She didn't change at all. Wei Chong said disapprovingly, I'm a security guard in a bar. At this moment, a young man smiled and said, Security? Are you a security guard? Ha! This sentence caused the other 2 men and 1 woman to burst into laughter. Tang Wei's complexion was already very bad, but Wei Chong appeared to be exceptionally normal, and even maintained a smile. Qi Shuwen did not say anything and stood quietly at the side. Feng Qian quietly stood behind Qi Shuwen, as if she wanted to draw a line between them. All right, I was just joking. Don't mind me. Jia Jiaojie's expression changed, and she began to smooth things over. The show had just begun, and she couldn't let it end so quickly. Right now, Tang Wei was extremely disgusted with Jia Jiaojie. She felt that she shouldn't have brought Uncle Wei here. Uncle Wei was probably feeling very uncomfortable right now, and it was all her fault. Uncle Wei, let's go. Wei Chong smiled and said, It's fine if we leave just like this, we will seem very rude. Tang Wei, even your old boyfriend knows how to be polite. Why don't you know how to be polite? Jia Jiaojie caressed her hair and teased. Wei Chong smiled but didn't say anything. I want to see what kind of tricks these ants can play. You! Xiao Tang calmed down. Wei Chong caressed Tang Wei's head lightly, as if he was caressing his own pet. Uncle Wei. Sit. Wei Chong said indifferently. Jia Jiaojia looked at her good friends. This was the first show, and there would be another good show later on. After sitting down, Jia Jiaojia introduced to Tang Wei. This is Long and City's Han family's young master, Han Kaijia. This is Long and City's Yu family's young master, Yu Wenguang. This is Long and City's Li family's Li Ba. And this beauty is our Long and City's Longhu Real Estate's young master, Shen Miao Miao. She is currently single, student Qi. You have to grasp this opportunity. Jia Jiaojia said with a gentle smile, seemingly wanting to curry favor with Qi Shuwen. The main reason was that Qi Shuwen had done a lot of big things during this period of time, and even some of the big shots in Long and City were praising him endlessly. The reason why she called Shen Miao Miao and Qi Shuwen over today was actually to matchmake them. Qi Shuwen laughed dryly and nodded his head politely towards Shen Miao Miao. The latter also smiled sweetly. Tang Wei, who do you fancy? Tell me, I guarantee that you will have a good life in the future. Jia Jiaojia started to make things difficult for Tang Wei again. This was completely not putting Wei Chong in her eyes. To make his girlfriend look bad in front of Wei Chong. To put it bluntly, Jia Jiaojia was just a pimp, and the three rich young masters were the clients, while Tang Wei was the mistress. Tang Wei was not someone who was easy to provoke. She slammed the table and shouted, Jia Jiaojia, what do you mean by this? Tang Wei, this uncle is really not suitable for you. Big sister is just thinking for you. You are going to graduate around this time next year, right? Where are you going to go? Are you still going to work in a bar? Look at Feng Qian. She will be able to intern at a company under the Han family soon. I am also doing this for your own good. There are 3 such big companies, you can choose from them. Tang Wei immediately looked towards Feng Qian. She did not understand why her best friend would follow them and even enter the Han family's company. She could only imagine the price. Han Kaijia's lips curled up into a smile. Although this Feng Qian was not as pretty as Tang Wei, she was still a virgin. He could still use her to play with. For a vain woman like her, if he gave her a little benefit, she would crawl and kneel down. Looking at this Tang Wei, she would probably feel better if she kneeled down. Student Tang, how about this? I will also introduce a job to this uncle. You can come to my company. Li Ba was the first to make a move. He heard from Jia Jiaojia that this Tang Wei was still an original and could be invested in. Tang Wei was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down. If not for Uncle Wei holding her down, she would have already flipped out. Tang Wei, don't be so unappreciative. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. Jia Jiaojia mocked. She actually sat on Yu Wenguang's lap. Qi Shuwen did not even want to look anymore. These rich people were really abnormal. He heard that this Jia Jiaojia was someone else's fiancée. Bang! Right at this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. A young man dressed in ordinary clothes walked in. His expression was calm, but his gaze was filled with ruthlessness. Yu Wenguang patted Jia Jiaojia's butt and said with a smile, "Your fiancé is here." Jia Jiaojia did not place the person in her eyes at all. He's just a piece of trash. My parents must have been blind to actually get engaged to him back then. Chapter 77. After saying that, he looked at Yu Wenguang. As for you wanting to be the one to take over, I won't stop you. After all, this woman's strength is up to standard, and it'll be easy for you to come and go. Qin Jin, do you want to die? Jia Jiaojia was instantly ignited. She threw the wine glass in her hand at Qin Jin. Qin Jin turned sideways and sneered, Jia Jiaojia, have you forgotten how you kneeled and licked my feet when my family was doing well? Recalling the past, Qin Jin felt that he must have been blind to have fallen for such a woman, and today was the day of his death. He was beaten to death in this room, and the murderer was Long Wenguang's bodyguard. As for the other people, they didn't even make a sound as they watched themselves being beaten to death. The only thing that was strange was, why were there 2 more people? That uncle and that youngster. I don't seem to have seen these 2 people in my previous life. I'm going to beat you to death today, you bastard. The flustered and exasperated Jia Jiaojia actually raised her embroidered fist. Qin Jin sneered in disdain and threw a punch with his right fist, which landed heavily on Jia Jiaojia's abdomen. The latter's eyeballs almost popped out. Qin Jin grabbed his fiancée's hair and slapped her. Both of them started working at the same time. Clap clap clap. After slapping Jia Jiaojia was still in a bad mood, and after slapping Jia Jiaojia picked Jia Jiaojia up and threw Jia Jiaojia to one side. Although this Jia Jiaojia is very vicious, but to be slapped to such a state, it is still so miserable. Qin Jin didn't even look at the unconscious Jia Jiaojia. To put it bluntly, she was just an accomplice. To be precise, they were all accomplices, including Yu Wanguang, the murderer. Back then, after he died, he went to another world and cultivated for 500 years, reaching the soul formation stage. He didn't expect to transmigrate back here. Heavens will wanted him to take revenge. He had to take back everything he lost back then, including his true love. When speaking of true love, Qin Jin took a glance at Tang Wei. His gaze contained a complicated look.
Back then, he had indeed had a crush on this commoner school belle.
Qin Jin sat down and knocked on the table. Everyone, let's settle the score. Long Wenguang looked back at Jia Jiaojia and said lightly, Qin Jin, kneel on the ground and kowtow 3 times. Maybe it's just the pain of losing your hand. Qin Jin exhaled and asked, where are your bodyguards? Qin Jin, kneel. Li Ba stood up and shouted. Qin Jin gave him a backhand slap. Who are you asking to kneel?
How dare you hit me?
Li Ba covered his face in disbelief. Qin Jin showed no mercy to these accomplices. He kicked Li Ba's kneecaps and broke his legs. Kneel down and repent, Qin Jin said faintly. Li Ba was rolling on the ground in pain, and his wails filled the whole room. Soon, he fainted from the pain. Tang Wei was obviously badly frightened. Her entire body was lying in Wei Chang's embrace. Today's situation was even more terrifying than that day. Qi Shuwen frowned. This Qin Jin used to be very popular in school, but ever since his family went bankrupt, he changed. He didn't expect him to become so violent. Feng Qian finally could not hold back the panic in her heart and broke into a run. However, how could she escape Qin Jin's gaze? Grabbing Feng Qian's arm, she raised her hand and slapped Feng Qian onto the ground. B*TCH. You stay here as well. I've already said that none of you can escape. Feng Qian covered her red and swollen face. Qin Jin, are you crazy? Humph, Feng Qian, do you think that I don't know what you have done? You act one way in front of others and another way behind others. Qin Jin said faintly.
He poured himself a glass of red wine and drank it very confidently.
You! After taking a sip of the red wine, Qin Jin said to Han Kaijia, this woman is very sick, be careful not to get infected. She is very good at lying. Han Kaijia's expression changed greatly as he looked towards Feng Qian. Qin Jin smiled and said, don't you all understand? This Feng Qian is Jia Jiaojia's little sister. She is used to swindle resources. Tang Wei didn't expect that Feng Qian was such a person. The good that Feng Qian treated me in the past was all fake. Her motive was to harm me. My God, I am so stupid. Han Kaijia's gaze was sinister as he stood up and walked towards Feng Qian, then asked, is what he said true? Young Master Han, don't believe him. Qian is sincere towards you. Have you forgotten the happy time last night? Young Master Han, you were also extremely happy at that time. Qin Jin laughed. Young Master Han, she is terminally ill. You have to wear a condom. Young Master Han, I am not sick, he is lying to you. Feng Qian hugged onto Han Kaijia's thigh and cried out. Han Kaijia said blankly, why didn't you let me wear a condom last night? Were you trying to pass the disease to me? Young Master Han, you have misunderstood me. I was just trying to make you feel even better. Young Master Han, does it feel good to be sick? Qin Jin mocked. Han Kaijia finally couldn't take it anymore. His eyes turned red as he raised his leg and stomped onto the woman on the ground. He shouted, slut! Go and die! Motherf * king slut. 100 stomps with all his strength. How could an ordinary woman take it? Feng Qian's eyes were wide open, and blood was flowing out from the corner of her mouth. She had long been stomped to death. When Qin Jin saw this scene, He thought of himself. I seem to have also been stomped to death like this. And this Feng Qian had also stepped on me before. Today is the day when I get my retribution. Enough. She has already been stomped to death by you. Yu Wenguang shouted. Mother ** king slut, do you think I'll let you off just because you're dead? I'll even step on a corpse. F***ck. F***ck. For some reason, Han Kaijie got more and more excited the more he stomped. Especially when he saw the pair of eyes that had died with everlasting regret. He felt even better than last night. At this moment, Jia Jiaojia, who had fainted, slowly opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was Feng Qian, who had died with everlasting regret. Blood was still flowing out from the corner of her mouth, and Han Kaijie was stomping on her abdomen without any regard for his life. Han Kaijie, are you crazy? Jia Jiaojia propped herself up and shouted. Han Kaijie's eyes were bloodshot as he turned to look at Jia Jiaojia. This is the woman you introduced to me, the woman who is sick. Since when was Feng Qian sick? You're the one who's sick. And you still say she's not sick? Even Qin Jin says she's sick. Han Kaijie pointed at Qin Jin, who was drinking red wine, and shouted. Jia Jiaojia slowly stood up. Han Kaijie, has your brain been eaten by a dog? How can you believe Qin Jin's words? Qin Jin took out his phone and waved it. Han Kaijie just killed a young woman with cruel means. His methods are so cruel that it makes one's hair stand on end. Han Kaijie seemed to wake up from a dream. He turned around and ran toward Qin Jin. However, he was no match for Qin Jin. He was sent flying by Qin Jin's kick and landed on Feng Qian. Fiancé, what are you standing there for? Come and sit down. Yu Wenguang, what are you waiting for? Call for help. I promise I won't leave. Yu Wenguang took out his phone and said to Qin Jin, all right, you've got guts. Don't even think of walking out of this door alive today. All right, let's see who can walk out of this door alive. Qin Jin chuckled. Chapter 78. I'm ashamed that I still regard you as my true love, but you're lying in someone else's arms. All women in this world are the same. Qi Shuwen didn't say anything. He had no intention of interfering. Shen Miao Miao, who was at the side, was actually very scared, but she didn't know what to do. If she knew it would be like this, she wouldn't have come today. Wei Chong hugged Tang Wei and comforted her softly. He did not have any intention of leaving. Not long after, 5 burly men walked in. Qin Jin turned around and glanced at them. Of course, he remembered the faces of these 5 people. Back then, they were the ones who trampled on him until he was on the verge of death. And these people were the ones who stepped on him from behind. And Shen Miao Miao was the one who stepped on the last one. Yu Wenguang shouted in a deep voice. Kill him. Yes, boss. The 5 burly men clenched their fists and looked at Qin Jin. How could an ordinary human be a match for them? They were cultivators, and their fists were deadly. Of course Qin Jin knew this, but he was no longer the Qin Jin of the past. He was a powerful cultivator of the soul formation stage, and he could easily take their lives. Bang, 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 bang. Other than Wei Chong, no one could see Qin Jin's movements clearly. The 5 burly men flew out and turned into 5 corpses. Qi Shuwen's expression changed greatly. This man was stronger than him. Jia Jiaojia, Yu Wenguang, and Shen Miao Miao were all dumbfounded. They all knew the strength of these 5 bodyguards. They hadn't been defeated yet, but they didn't expect to be instantly killed by this trash. Qin Jin suddenly stood up and shouted, Forgive me for being blunt, but I'm not targeting anyone. Everyone here is trash. Wei Chong frowned slightly. Was he calling him trash? Isn't this indirectly scolding his honor as trash? How could that be? There was only one outcome for insulting his honor, and that was death. How should he die? Let me think about it. Jia Jiaojia was a smart woman. She instantly knelt on the ground and shouted, Qin Jin, I was wrong in the past. Let's make up. I'll still treat you like before. Kneel down and lick my boots? Qin Jin teased. Jia Jiaojia was taken aback for a moment, then she smiled and said, N. My shoes are a little dirty, help me out, Qin Jin said with a smile. Jia Jiaojia looked at the small black stain and stuck out her tongue while suppressing her disgust. Bang! Jia Jiaojia's delicate body flew out once again, slamming heavily into the wall. Her beautiful eyes were wide open, and her limbs were trembling. It was obvious that her spine had been broken, and she gradually stopped breathing. B*TCH, you don't deserve to lick my shoes. Qin Jin patted his white sneakers and said coldly. Yu Wenguang revealed a look of fear. He had actually killed his fiancée. Savage to the extreme. Qin Jin knocked on the table and lightly said, someone should be coming at this time. Sure enough, as soon as Qin Jin finished speaking, two people walked in, one old and one young. The man was very elegant. The old man was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and seemed to be an expert. The two of them walked in and glanced at each other. They didn't show any signs of shock. Qin Jin stood up. Master Bai. You know me? Bai Qi asked curiously. Of course. Qin Jin smiled. Back then, these two people had stood by and watched as he was beaten to death.
The old man on the side lowered his head and said, Young Master Bai, this man is extraordinary.
I suggest we take a look first. Bai Qi frowned slightly, but he still believed in the old man's decision. He smiled faintly and said, Have fun, everyone. With that, he left the room. Qin Jin laughed softly. Wasn't it the same back then? It was just that he had the upper hand this time. Young Master Bai, take me out. Yu Wenguang shouted frantically. Unfortunately, the door was already closed and he couldn't open it no matter how hard he tried. Yu Wenguang, stop shouting. No one will answer you even if you scream yourself hoarse, Qin Jin said calmly. Yu Wenguang shouted in a low voice. Qin Jin, how dare you kill me? My father will definitely not let you off. Your family has so many brothers. If you die, they won't even be able to clap their hands in time. You! But I can give you a chance to live. Qin Jin said mockingly. What? Only one of you and Han Kaijie can live. While he's still unconscious, you better make your move quickly. He's bigger than you. Otherwise, you might be the one to die later. Yu Wenguang looked at the unconscious Han Kaijie with a complicated gaze. Unexpectedly, Han Kaijie, who was lying on Feng Qian, moved slightly. This gave Yu Wenguang a fright. This Han Kaijie learned mixed martial arts for no reason. He reckoned that he would end up like Feng Qian, trampled to death later. He could only make the first move. I'm sorry. Yu Wenguang could be seen picking up the red wine bottle on the table, walking to Han Kaijie's side. Taking a deep breath, he fiercely smashed the bottle down. Bang! The expensive red wine smashed onto the back of Han Kaijie's head. The red wine dyed Han Kaijie and the dead Feng Qian red, making the scene look extremely terrifying. Yu Wenguang thought that this would be enough. Who knew that Han Kaijie's finger was still moving slightly? He raised the sharp shard and directly stabbed it into the back of Han Kaijie's head. The red wine and blood mixed together. It seemed like Han Kaijie and Feng Qian had already fused into one. Tang Wei had already fainted. She had never seen such a cruel scene in her life. Shen Miaomiao really wanted to faint, but she was unable to do so. Qi Shuwen wrinkled his brows. With my strength, I am completely not Qin Jin's opponent. I have to think of a way to escape. Qin Jin, I still have something to do, can I? Qi Shuwen asked. Qin Jin thought for a while. Chapter 79. Yu Wenguang's eyes were bloodshot, and Han Kaijie's blood was still on his face. With a crazed look on his face, Yu Wenguang walked towards Shen Miaomiao. The latter was very afraid, but she knew that it was useless to be afraid. She could only give it her all. Shen Miaomiao lifted her leg and kicked at Yu Wenguang's crotch. The fork in her right hand quickly stabbed at Yu Wenguang's neck. Yu Wenguang's aorta was instantly punctured. When Shen Miaomiao pulled out the fork, blood gushed out like a fountain. Yu Wenguang clutched his neck in disbelief. He reached out to grab Shen Miaomiao, but it was to no avail. He had underestimated women. When a person was on the brink of death, they would do something unimaginable. Even a weak woman could turn into a god of death. Shen Miaomiao, I didn't expect that. Qin Jin was very surprised and applauded. Shen Miaomiao took a deep breath and put down the bloody fork.
Can I go now?
There's another unconscious one here. Qin Jin stepped on Li Ba's back. Shen Miao Miao's breathing quickened. She picked up the fork again, glanced at Qin Jin, and used the same method to stab Li Ba's aorta. This should be enough, right? Shen Miao Miao actually wanted to cry, but she knew that this man was very cruel, so she couldn't cry. Even if she wanted to cry, she had to step out of this door. Of course. Qin Jin smiled gently. Shen Miao Miao breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't want to come to this Pin 1 club anymore. They didn't even care about such a thing. Opening the door, Shen Miao Miao took a deep breath of the outside air and felt alive again. Instantly. Shen Miao Miao widened her eyes and turned to look at Qin Jin in disbelief. Sorry, I lied to you again. Qin Jin broke Shen Miao Miao's heart meridian with one palm. This was probably the most painless way to die. Throwing the corpse aside, Qin Jin closed the door again. Those who were related to his death were all dead. That's right.
As for that young Master Bai and the old man, I'll let them live for a while and solve the matter in front of me first.
Wei Chong really liked this kind of scene, but in Qin Jin's eyes, he was completely like an old uncle who was scared silly, but the woman he was hugging was his. This was absolutely unforgivable. She's mine, Qin Jin said in a low voice. Wei Chong hugged the unconscious Tang Wei, caressed her soft hair and said with a light smile, "She belongs to me now. Hee, when you become like them, she will belong to me." Human, who gave you such confidence? Sometimes, Wei Chong admired the mysterious confidence of humans. Did they really think that they were very powerful after killing these ants? Qin Jin suddenly let out a burst of wild laughter. Confidence? Because my name is Qin Jin. My return will set off a storm, and the world will tremble for me. My enemies are only fit to hide in a corner and tremble. My women will enjoy my body, and you will become a corpse just like them.
You said my line.
Wei Chong was very angry. I have never seen such an arrogant human before.
Thinking back to back then, his honor and I were completely annihilated by the humans and revived to this point. Back then, we were completely capable of killing our way back to the humans and turning the world upside down.
However, he didn't. He didn't try to conquer this ant-like human because of his strength. He didn't say such words to anyone because it was really low, and it would lower his own level. Furthermore, even though he kept on saying that he wanted to take revenge, he was completely unable to reach his honor's mental state. He was destined to not be able to become a strong martial artist. What? Lines? Uncle, have you gone stupid from fear? Wei Chong laughed lightly, then slowly stretched out his hand. With his palm facing upwards, his hand formed into a claw shape. Human, actually, you acted cool enough today, but the mistake is, you actually acted cool in front of me. You! Qin Jin sensed a dangerous aura. He wanted to retaliate, but his entire body was unable to move. Immediately, he looked at Wei Chong with a horrified gaze. A black whirlpool condensed in the center of Wei Chang's palm, seemingly like it was sucking something. Meanwhile, Qin Jin seemed like something was about to leave his body.
Wei Chong kept his smile, and with a very serious expression he declared, "You actually dared to insult the great His Honor as trash, that has decided your fate from now on.
Killing people isn't your fault. The fault lies in your mouth. Even if you act cool, there must be a limit. If you don't act cool properly, you will become an idiot, and you will regret your failure to act cool in the endless darkness." Stopping speaking, Wei Chong clenched his 5 fingers. Qin Jin's primordial spirit could be seen being forcefully pulled out by Wei Chong. This is what is truly terrifying. Qin Jin's physical body became sluggish, and his primordial spirit was frantically shouting, "Who exactly are you? Why are you imprisoning my primordial spirit? I am one of the 7 deadly sins under the Supreme Overlord's command, gluttony. You can call me Wei Chong. As for why I imprisoned your primordial spirit, of course it is to refine it. Xiao Tang's body is weak, so your primordial spirit can be treated as a small snack for her to eat." No. I am Qin Jin. I am a man who has returned from cultivation. I am a man who will make the world tremble. Qin Jin shouted frantically, unwilling to believe the truth in front of his eyes, but it was so real. "I know I was wrong. I don't want this woman anymore. As long as you don't refine my primordial spirit, I will do anything you want me to. I will lick your shoes for you, okay?"
Qin Jin knew the consequences of refining his primordial spirit. He would disappear forever, and all of his efforts would be wasted.
Why didn't I just take revenge? Why? If I leave, I won't be like this anymore. Why didn't I leave? Why am I still being greedy for a beauty? Master is right. Beauty is poison.
Wei Chong laughed. Lick my shoes for me?
Do you know how to lick coins?
Seems like you don't. The black fog on Wei Chang's hand immediately became denser.
How is that black fog? It is clearly underworld fire. No. I can learn it, spare me. I don't want to die. I am the master.
The begging voice disappeared within the underworld fire, and in just a minute, the primordial spirit was refined by the underworld fire. A black pearl could be seen floating on Wei Chang's palm, and after swallowing it, Tang Wei would obtain Qin Jin's cultivation. Following Wei Chang's wave of his hand, Tang Wei, who was in a coma, swallowed the black pearl. Wei Chong carried Tang Wei, looked at the soulless Qin Jin and the corpses on the ground, then took out his phone.
Hello, is this Yao Yao Ling? A murder happened in the Pin E clubhouse.
After hanging up the phone, Wei Chong let out a breath. As a legal citizen, seeing this kind of thing happening, I definitely can't just stand by and watch. I have to immediately call Yao Yao Ling for help. Carrying Tang Wei, Wei Chong left the Pin E clubhouse. Inside the Pin E clubhouse's boss office, Bai Chi's brows were tightly wrinkled as he looked at the surveillance camera. Young Master Bai, from the looks of it, this person seemed to have absorbed something. Bai Chi did not speak, and after pondering for a while he said, My big sister, what did brother-in-law say? Young Miss said to not do anything for the time being, and to wait and see.
Chapter 80. Last night, Miss ordered this lowly one to investigate overnight.
This man is called Wei Chong. He is the security captain of Leisure Bar. The woman in his embrace is just a waitress in Leisure Bar, and the boss of Leisure Bar is called Yi Hua. He is the man who won 50 billion from young master's brother-in-law last night.
The first time they appeared was 5 years ago.
At that time they had come into contact with Fifth Master, and after that, they started to operate a leisure bar.
Everything was uneventful until Qing family's Qingya appeared last month. Bai Chi asked confusedly, Qingya? What do you mean?
The investigation is still continuing, and the preliminary result is that the two of them had a relationship, and these few days, Qingya directly stayed at Leisure Bar, and of course, there was also his little sister, Qing Yutong.
Qing Yutong? Are you talking about that movie queen? Bai Chi asked curiously.
Yes.
It seemed like Bai Chi was also interested in the famous Qing Yutong.
After all, he was only a young man. How could he resist the temptation of Qing Yutong?
Is there any other news? What faction is behind them? Bai Chi asked.
Actually, saying so much wasn't of much use. I haven't found out yet, but right now, Leisure Bar's boss Yi Hua and Jiu Ye's relationship isn't bad. Bai Chi touched his forehead as he looked at the surveillance camera from last night. Jiu Yi is indeed a character, the spokesperson of a crafty old fox. Don't look at how he is only holed up in a small Longan city. His hands are already all over the country.
The old man chuckled. No matter how powerful the ninth master is, he can't compare to the eldest Mississippi. Of course. Who is my sister? She's a woman known as the Beauty of the North. Although my brother-in-law is a bit sloppy, he's still a good match for my sister, unlike other men who have multiple wives, Bai Chi muttered. The old man chuckled and didn't say anything. But my brother-in-law doesn't have the guts to look for other women, Bai Chi added.
You're right, young master.
The old man smiled.
Bai Chi patted his pants and said, Old He, let's go to Zijin City.
I still want to ask my sister in person. All right, I'll arrange the plane right away.
Bai Chi, who was about to leave, suddenly paused and turned his head to ask, Old He, do you think the Xiao family will return the money?
I'm not sure about Xiao Yi, but the woman beside him will definitely not return it.
Then do you think the boss of this bar will step on the accounts?
I really don't know. Old Chi, you really know how to joke around. Let's go to Zijin City and wait and see. I feel like there's going to be a good show to watch. I've long been sick of this Xiao Yi. Back then, he even chased after my sister. Both of them have wives and he acts pretentiously all day long. Everyone in the circle calls him the pretentious King Xiao. Bai Chi said with disdain. The old man followed behind silently, listening to the young master's complaints.
I really hope that the owner of the bar can step on this act tough king and let him know that there is always someone better out there.
Young master, Xiao Yi's strength isn't ordinary. He's on par with the leaders of the other families. If we didn't surround him, it would be very difficult to make him lose face. Bai Qi sighed. How could he not know this? Otherwise, his sister would have long overturned the Xiao clan's doors. On the other side, Wei Chong carried the unconscious Tang Wei and arrived at a coffee shop, attracting a lot of people's attention. There were even some boys who were prepared to play the hero and save the beauty, and from there, they would be able to win the beauty. Wei Chong ordered a cup of iced coffee and quietly waited for Tang Wei to wake up. Back then, he heard that Lai Gu had killed 3 prehistoric beasts, and he even secretly took the meat of a golden delicate crane. In the future, I will ask Lai Gu to help me steal a piece of meat as well. Uncle Wei. Tang Wei could be seen slightly opening her beautiful eyes, but in that instant, Tang Wei's pupils were completely black, just like a deep whirlpool. But it was only for an instant. When Wei Chong saw it, he felt that it was not bad, right? You woke up. Uncle Wei, aren't we attending a banquet? Why are we here? Tang Wei rubbed her forehead, seemingly having already forgotten about what happened just now, selectively forgetting about it. Wei Chong said with a smile, "Oh, you are drunk, so I brought you out first." Is that so? I won't make a fool of myself, right? Wei Chong lightly stroked Tang Wei's chin. Why would I? Tang Wei was very embarrassed. Uncle Wei sure knows how to seduce people. The shy Tang Wei lowered her head and tidied up her hair, not daring to look Wei Chong in the eye. Just that, her legs that were trembling due to nervousness had already caused cracks to appear on the ground, and the cracks were still continuously expanding. Leisure bar, 2nd floor, Qing Yutong's chamber. Yihua, give me the AWM. Yutong, give me the M249. Qing Yutong had a look of dislike on her face. Who is she? Yihua. I don't know her. Qing Yi snorted. Quickly give it to me, you 2 bastards, snatching my equipment. I didn't even come across a single airdrop that had the equipment. Yihua said faintly, who asked your hand speed to be slow? Qing Yutong went into a daze, then rubbed onto Yihua's shoulder. Brother-in-law, your hand speed is not bad, how did you train? Your big sister. Yihua took a glance at Qing Yi. Qing Yutong's beautiful eyes opened wide. Your taste is too heavy, too perverted, I want to get off the car. Qing Yi shouted out gravely. Yihua, don't lead the little girl astray. The corner of Yihua's mouth slightly raised, then patted onto his sister-in-law's head. Little girl, listen to big sister properly. I will listen to brother-in-law. Qing Yutong placed both of her hands on her chin, opened her beautiful eyes, pouted her small mouth, and acted very cute. Qing Yi completely couldn't stand it anymore, raised her hand and slapped. Big sister, what are you doing? Qing Yutong rubbed onto her head, feeling very wronged, seemingly wanting her brother-in-law to make the decision. Yihua shook his head. Qing Yi, Yutong is already stupid enough, don't hit her anymore. Brother-in-law, you. Qing Yi silently nodded her head. That is indeed the case. You all collude with each other to bully a lonely little sister. My dear little nephew, when are you going to come out? At least we can have a companion. Yihua, Qing Yi. Right when the 3 of them were randomly showing off, a hand grenade appeared out of nowhere and entered through the window. However, before the hand grenade landed on the ground, it exploded. Yihua brought along his wife and sister-in-law and died, and there was also a water buddy who was hiding at the corner of the wall. Yihua, it's all your fault. Brother-in-law, it's all your fault. Yihua put down his mouse and said faintly, what are we eating for lunch? Yihua, you changed the topic again. Brother-in-law, how can you be like this? How about eating Sichuan cuisine? Or Hunan cuisine? Actually, I still want to eat grilled chicken wings. Qing Yi stood up and stretched her waist. That perfect curve of hers immediately made people unable to take their eyes off her. Yihua expressed that he was already used to it, and Qing Yutong expressed that her curve was even better. Let's order takeout, I don't want to go out, it's hot outside. Qing Yi casually picked up her phone and prepared to order on Meituan. Qing Yutong was rather surprised. Big sister, you weren't like this in the past. Could it be that you became lazy after getting pregnant? Chapter 81. Yihua said faintly, "What does it have to do with me?"
Qingye was too lazy to argue with Yihua and asked, "What do you guys want to eat?"
"Lanzhou fried rice. Add an egg." Yihua said faintly. "It has been a long time since I ate Lanzhou fried rice." Qingye let out a sigh of relief. "Luckily I didn't order crayfish." "Let's eat crayfish tonight," Yihua added.
Qingye's face immediately darkened. Qing Yutong thought for a while. "Big sister, help me order a McFlurry. I want strawberry-flavored, and also 2 pairs of chicken wings."
"You don't want to control your weight anymore?" Qingye sized up Qing Yutong and asked.
Qing Yutong stood up and turned around. "Do I still need to control my figure, brother-in-law?"
"Not bad." Yihua had to give his sister-in-law a thumbs up.
Other than the slight flaw in her personality, she is still very perfect. "Not bad, my ass. Yihua, where are your eyeballs looking at?"
"Oh, looking at sister-in-law," Yihua said faintly.
"Brother-in-law, don't be like this, big sister is still here." "Then wait until she is not here." Qingye knew that the two of them were teasing her, but she was still angry. "All right, I will make space for you guys then."
Just like this, the daily quarrel started again. Yihua shook his head helplessly. Qingye's mental state still needs to be trained.
If she gets angry just like this, if she gets provoked by the enemy a few times, wouldn't she fly into the sky? Big sister has such a bad temper.
Even Qing Yutong sighed.
Seeing that her brother-in-law did not have the intention to chase after them, Qing Yutong asked in a low voice, "Brother-in-law, why don't you chase after them?"
"I can only look at you after your big sister left."
"What, brother-in-law is so perverted? He likes sister-in-law authentic beautiful legs. Do you want to know?"
Qing Yutong could be seen revealing her snow-white long legs.
She silently thought, if brother-in-law can quickly touch them, then I will be able to get a quest point.
"You are also very perverted." Yihua took a look at the long legs and said. Qing Yutong. Half an hour later, the food delivery arrived. It was a pity that Qingye was still angry and did not come over to eat.
Yihua had no choice but to go and coax her.
"It is fine if the adult is hungry, but I don't want my child to be hungry."
Pushing open the bedroom door, Yihua discovered that Qingye was sitting on the bed, revealing her miserable back view, looking just like a resentful wife.
"Qingye, come over and eat," Yihua shouted out.
In actuality, this action of his was already giving the other party a lot of face. When had Yihua ever called others out for a meal?
He only knows how to send people to hell. "What are you calling me for? Aren't you having fun with your sister-in-law? I don't dare to disturb master's mood." Qingye was very jealous.
Yihua pulled Qingye up and said faintly, "All right, don't make me angry."
"You!" Qingye snorted.
"If it wasn't for the fact that you won 50 billion, if you don't beg me a few times today, I wouldn't have let you off so easily." Qing Yutong looked at her brother-in-law who was pulling her big sister into the room, and clicked her tongue. "Big sister, can't you be a little more reserved?
At the very least, you should at least be able to last for 2 minutes, right?
Every time brother-in-law makes a move, you would always surrender in less than a minute. As a woman, I have to look down on you."
"Eat your food, don't talk so much." Qingye's beautiful eyes widened.
"Isn't it because he is too strong? I am unable to resist him."
"Ha ha ha. Right, just now, the company gave me a call. Tomorrow, you should make a trip to Gao Hai City to take some publicity photos," Qingye said while holding on to her rice bowl. Hearing that, Qing Yutong became worried. "Tomorrow?"
"Brother-in-law, come with me." "Not free, I have to bring your big sister out for a walk tomorrow."
"All right, you guys.
You guys are just purposely making me go away, so that you can enjoy your world with just the two of you, right?"
"Humph, I have seen through you guys."
Qing Yutong got angry, crossed her arms around her chest, and raised her chin up high.
Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. "When did I agree to go out with you?"
"Since you want to be a streamer, then go and do it properly. Don't drop the ball, if not, you can go back and be your movie empress,"
Qingye said. Qing Yutong turned her head and looked outside the window. Her small mouth was so big that an oil bottle could be hung on it.
"With a bad temper, I won't be coming back. Let's see if you guys are anxious or not." After eating, everyone was not in a hurry to play games. Qingye had the habit of taking afternoon naps, and Yihua had to cultivate his human nature.
Qing Yutong, his sister-in-law, joined in as well. The two of them sat in the office and looked happy. Qing Yutong would occasionally laugh, and Yihua wished that he could sew his sister-in-law's mouth shut. Is it that funny? Qingya directly overslept. If not for her phone ringing, she would have probably slept till night time. CEO Qing. The phone call was from Lu Hang. Qingya propped up her body and leaned against the headboard of the bed.
Her lazy charm made people's hearts itch, and they wished that they could press Qingya under their body and enjoy to their heart's content.
What's the matter? Lu Hang said gravely. The matter is like this, Longhu Real Estate is also considered as a business partner. Their boss's daughter was killed by someone today. Shouldn't we express our gratitude? Boss's daughter? What's the situation? Qingya wore her slippers and stood beside the window and looked at the sunset. Lu Hang swallowed his saliva. I am not very clear about the specifics, just now. It was also a subordinate who reported it to me, and I only watched the television. All right, I got it. Qingya hung up the phone. If I am not in Longan City, it would be fine, but now that I am here, I still have to go over to take a look. Opening the door and walking out of the bedroom, Qingya arrived at Yihua's office. Upon opening the door, she heard a voice that would make one's head ache. I will still come back. They actually looked happy for the entire afternoon. Qingya wished that she could kick these two people awake. Just how old are they already? Big sister, quickly come, it is going to start again soon. Qingya picked up the remote control and changed to Long and City's channel. As expected, it was reporting about this matter.
Audience in front of the TV, the place where I am at right now is the crime scene. Everyone can still clearly see the bloodstains on the ground. It can be seen how terrifying it was at that time. The murderer is even more shocking. This person is called Qin Jin. He is the successor of Qin Group, and among the people who died at the scene, there is even his fiancée. According to my understanding, after Qin Group went bankrupt, Qin Jin had been very quiet. I believe that the murder this time was meticulously planned by Qin Jin, and the method was even more inhumane. The deceased are all the children of Longan City's famous rich merchants. It can be seen how big his heart for vengeance is. The following scene is a bit too extreme. If there are children present at the scene, please move away. The scene changed. A man could be seen ferociously stepping on a woman. Although the scene was blurred out, the begging voice that came out from the television was shocking, especially that begging voice that gradually became softer, until it was completely gone. But that man was still stepping on the woman continuously, causing people's scalp to go numb. Chapter 82. Yihua did not have any reaction. Isn't it just a few people dying? People die in this world every day. What is there to be surprised about? Qingya was obviously not used to it. She picked up the remote control and changed the channel, then called Lu Hang again. Is the one who died Shen Tao's daughter or Shen Shuai's daughter? It's Shen Tao's daughter, Shen Miao Miao. So pitiful. Qingya sighed. After hanging up the phone, Qingya slowly sat beside Yihua and suddenly hugged onto Yihua's arm. This person died just like that. This is really sudden. Big sister, what happened? Is your friend inside as well? Qing Yutong asked concernedly. The daughter of a business partner is inside. Qingya let out a sigh of relief. In the future, I have to properly discipline my own child. That is really too unfortunate. Qing Yutong said regretfully. Yihua patted onto Qingya's head. What is there to be sad about? Is your heart made of stone? Can't you even sigh for a bit? Qingya poked onto Yihua's heart and said coquettishly. Yihua said disapprovingly, everyone is destined to die, it is just that it was brought forward. According to the legends, people reincarnated in advance. Nonsense. All right, I ordered the crayfish. Yihua said faintly. Qingya rubbed onto her stomach. I am not hungry. You can just peel it. Yihua, I am your wife, not your servant. Qing Yutong sighed. Big sister, don't quarrel with brother-in-law, you won't be able to hold on for more than a minute anyway, why bother? Yutong does have some opinions. Qingya, give up struggling. The two of you can. I will remember it. Qingya said angrily, but there was nothing she could do. I can't win against him, and acting coquettishly isn't my style. I am so depressed, I actually found this kind of husband. How many couples did I break up in my previous life in exchange for this kind of retribution? When the fried crayfish arrived, The stubborn Qingya still obediently helped Yihua peel it, just that the bitter taste filled the entire room, as if she was kidnapped by Yihua. And Yihua was also very particular. He once again mixed a cup of dragon blood wine for his wife and sister-in-law.
Qingya's face immediately turned bright.
Yihua thought silently, TikTok really doesn't lie. This woman will be fine after being coaxed a bit. Qing Yutong was even more careful when she drank the wine. Last time, she drank the wine in a single gulp, and today, she had to drink it slowly, bit by bit.
Qingya, let me tell you something. Yihua suddenly said while eating the prawn meat that Qingya peeled.
Qingya put down the bar, then lightly licked her cherry lips with her fragrant tongue, looking exceptionally cute. And
Qing Yutong immediately cast a glance at Yihua.
Seeing brother-in-law's serious look, it seems like he has already started to discipline his wife. Big sister is so miserable. Luckily I am not brother-in-law's concubine. I almost scared myself to death. As a boss, I don't have to do everything personally. Yihua was indeed preparing to start training the boss. In this aspect I have to properly teach him.
Qingya snorted coldly. If I don't do it, who is going to do it? Are you going to do it? If this subordinate isn't used to do things, then what's the use of having him? As the boss of the group, all you have to do is to issue orders. Doing everything yourself is bullshit. It's just like the emperor in the past, who only cared about sitting on the throne and controlling the situation. Qing Yutong nodded her head. What brother-in-law said makes sense. Shut up. Qingya glared at her little sister. Just whose side are you standing on?
Look, even Yutong knows about it, yet you, as the big sister, still don't know about it. Yihua placed his chopsticks straight, slightly leaned on the chair and drank the dragon blood wine.
Qingya pursed her lips, and for the first time, she didn't refute.
After a while she said, after saying so much, you just want me to not go and mourn, right? Of course, think about it, there are so many levels of difference between the two of you, even if you want to go, it would be that driver from that day.
Yihua said.
Qingya pouted her mouth and muttered, inhumane. What did you say?
Yihua asked gravely.
Qingya's heart trembled. She felt that Yihua's tone just now was very heavy.
Is there a need for that?
I am just going to comfort my partner. There is no other meaning. However, to Yihua, there is a huge disparity in status between the two of them. A mere human, why is there a need for me to let my wife go? Brother-in-law, come, your sister-in-law will peel the prawns for you, calm down, be obedient. Yihua fiercely glared at his sister-in-law, and the latter stuck out her tongue. Qingya, you just have to remember one point. You are the boss, you are the sky. Yihua added a sentence, and completed the lesson of disciplining his wife.
Big sister, did you hear that?
If you are the sky, then brother-in-law is the ground. Qingya stretched out her hand unhappily and slapped onto her sister-in-law, and the latter rubbed onto her head pitifully.
That's right.
I admit that what you said is right, but do you know about respecting the old and loving the young?
Do you know about China's tradition? What's wrong with abandoning one's position?
A partner's daughter passed away. What's wrong with going and mourning for her? Qingya questioned and immediately started disciplining her husband. Yihua didn't say anything. According to China's tradition, it is indeed necessary to do so. Seeing that Yihua didn't say anything, Qingya snorted. You have your reasons, I also have my reason. What's wrong with the boss? Can't the boss care about the subordinate? The human heart is made of flesh, not made of iron. If you treat others well, others will treat you well. Just like you, when have you ever treated me well before? Touch your own conscience and say, have you ever cared about me before? And what about me? In the morning, when I went to buy breakfast for you, I still had to be scolded by you, and I even had to peel crayfish for you. Did I ever say that my fingers were hurting from the spiciness? I have always been patient and tolerant. I also have a temper. Don't think that I am afraid of you when I get angry, even I am afraid of myself. Yihua was a little startled, and Qing Yutong was also shocked by her big sister's imposing manner. She is truly a heroine among women. I have to give her a thumbs up and praise her. The more Qingya spoke, the angrier she got, and she began to complain about the grievances she suffered these few days. Also, you only know how to watch cartoons every day, and now that you are addicted to playing games, you still don't go out and look for a job. That's right. I can support you for your entire life, but you also need to have a bit of ambition.
If the child sees that his father only knows how to watch cartoons and play games, how disappointed would he be? Also, don't think that just because I treat you well, you can bully me as you wish. I, Qingya, also have my dignity. Please respect me. After finished speaking, Qingya swallowed her saliva. Looking at that stupefied look on Yihua's face, I wonder if he is going to get angry again. After a long time, Yihua said to Qing Yutong, Yutong, how about ordering another 5 pounds of sugar? Qing Yutong didn't know how to reply and chose to remain silent. Qingya was angered to the point that she was biting her lips. Not only did this person not talk back, but he is actually punishing me in disguise, shameless to the extreme. I was wrong. Qingya lowered her head and admitted defeat. Even she herself didn't know why she had to be like this. If it was in the past, she would feel that she had lost a lot of face, but right now, she didn't feel like this.
The corner of Yihua's mouth slightly rose. You are not wrong, I will accompany you tonight.
A dignified supreme overlord being scolded by his wife, and he still can't refute. This is truly embarrassing. This matter has to be kept a secret, and all the people who know about it have to be silenced. However, when he thought about Lai Gu, there are already 3 of them, and I am only one. Will Lai Gu stop me? Of course, Yihua wouldn't stop Wei Chong. He was just too curious. Wei Chong had been following me for a few hundred years, and I have never seen him get close to a woman before. Compared to women, Wei Chong prefers to eat women. Today, when I saw Wei Chong today, my 3 views on the world, the 3 views.
Yihua nodded his head. And not bad.
Wei Chong heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for your praise, boss. Thank you, boss. Tang Wei also thanked him. Although she did not understand why, she felt that this was the right thing to do. Go get busy. Yes. Qingya took a puzzled look at Yihua, then followed after Yihua. Upon seeing that Yihua's brows were tightly wrinkled, Qingya asked, What's with that expression of yours? Are you unhappy that they are together? No, I'm just curious, that's all. Yihua said lightly. What's there to be curious about? It's just that their age is a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all. Qingya was rather open-minded and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Speaking of age, we are also a few hundred years apart. Yihua didn't discuss Wei Chang's matters with Qingya in depth, and while holding on to Qingya's tender and delicate hands, he asked, Is it really that painful? Humph, what do you think? Although Qingya was venting out her dissatisfaction, her heart felt sweet. You will get used to it. Yihua. If I continue to peel crayfish for you, I will change my surname to yours. Just now she thought that Yihua had changed, but in the end, he was still the same, causing her to explode from anger. Meanwhile, Yihua hugged onto his wife's waist and said faintly, You said that I don't care about you? Did I say something wrong? Some care can't be seen, can't be touched. One has to use one's heart to feel it. It's just that you are unable to experience it. Yihua said lightly. This stupid woman only looks at the surface. I really don't know how she managed to become a big company. TSK, you are starting to talk nonsense again. Qingya was clearly lacking in confidence. Thinking back to the past few days, Yihua did care about me a little. In any case, compared to the past few days, Yihua was much better. Walking out of the alley and onto the main street, the 2 of them were destined to be the center of attention, especially the way Qingya was dressed. It was too girlish, and she was even wearing a pair of cute slippers. If she were to tie her hair into 2 ponytails, she would almost look like a loli. Qingya was very embarrassed. It was the first time that I dressed like this, and I looked like I was pretending to be young.
Especially those men whose eyeballs were about to pop out, and there were even a few who knocked into electricity poles.
Where does that person live? Qingya had unknowingly held onto Yihua's hand. I don't know. I don't know. Yihua said gravely. It seems like she ran out of the house without knowing anything. I will make a call and ask. Qingya hurriedly said. One touch, and it's over. Yihua looked at the bashful Qingya and asked, Did you forget to bring your phone as well? Who asked you to pull me out of the house? Qingya said coldly as she pinched onto Yihua's arm. You sure are quick to shift the blame.
In any case, it is all your fault.
Forget it, just treat it as taking a stroll outside. Don't think about going to mourn. Qingya let out a deep sigh. Right now, I can only do this. No, this fellow definitely brought his phone with him. Lend me your phone for a while. Do you remember the phone number? Yihua asked back. You only know how to show off. Qingya was very melancholic. I am completely under the control of Yihua, and I don't even have a bit of leeway to retaliate. If only this man was a bit more obedient. Although I am very gloomy, I feel that this kind of life isn't bad at all. After dinner, I took a stroll with Yihua. Walking on the bustling street, there was no false flattery, there was also no business deception, and there was also no heavy pressure. It was as if all the pressure was shouldered by the man beside her, but he didn't seem to have done anything. Meanwhile, Jiu Yi was also very vexed today. Such a thing actually happened in Long'an City. Although it has nothing to do with me, there are still some people who pointed the spearhead at me. I am truly very vexed. Right now, I still have to go and give those rich merchants an explanation. What is there to say about this? If you want to find someone, then go and find Bai family. And that Bai Qi ran away the moment something happened. He is simply shameless. Jiu Yi, who was sitting in the Rolls-Royce Phantom, looked at the pedestrians on the street. Those two that I met at the banquet yesterday, I probably won't meet them today, right? Please don't appear. The moment you two appear, I will be embarrassed. Chapter 84. Damn it! Why did I have to pass by this road just now? Oh my god! I should just get off the car and ask. Yihua and Qingya didn't pay attention to the cars on the road at all and were only taking a silent stroll. If not for the two of them holding hands, just by looking at their expressions, one would have thought that they were strangers. A Rolls-Royce Phantom suddenly stopped at the roadside. Jiu Yi quickly arrived in front of Yihua and Qingya and said with a smile, "Boss, lady boss, what a coincidence." Yihua really didn't like others disturbing his peace and quiet. Are you following me? Boss, I don't have that kind of free time. Yihua, it's just a coincidence. Qingya smiled lightly. I got off the car out of goodwill and greeted you, yet your face turned black. You are not giving me face at all. Lady boss sure is magnanimous. Jiu Yi had a good impression of Qingya. Not only is this woman beautiful, she also has a good heart. Qingya asked with a smile, where are you going, Director Gong? Lady boss, don't call me Director Gong. Just call me Xiao Jiu. Ah! Qingya was a bit stupefied. This was the first time I met such a humble person. Yihua said faintly, just call me when I ask you to. Jiu Yi laughed dryly. Lady boss, I was just about to go to Qinghe Garden. It's all because of that matter that happened at noon. Murder? Qingya asked. Lady boss knows about it too. Those relatives of mine are making a fuss right now. I have to go out and talk to them. Just nice. I was just about to go out as well. Qingya said and poked Yihua's waist. Yihua really wanted to give this Jiu Yi a slap. It's fine if you just drove by. Why did you have to get off the car? Are you bored? Can't you see that I am taking a stroll with my wife after dinner? Boss, lady boss, please get on the car. Jiu Yi exclaimed that he was very lucky. If the boss went out, things would be much simpler. Just that. Will the boss go out? This is a problem. This isn't right. As long as the lady boss goes out, doesn't that mean that the boss also has to go out? Yihua helplessly let Qingya lead him away. To be honest, Yihua really wasn't willing to go. I might as well stay at home and play games with my sister-in-law. Qinghe Garden was a cemetery in Long'an City. The people who were able to live in this cemetery were mostly the elders of rich people. The price of the cemetery was about the same as buying a house, but the size of the cemetery was even smaller than buying a house. However, today's Clear Harmony Garden seemed to be exceptionally gloomy, and there was even a bit of austere atmosphere in the atmosphere. Qingya looked at the black-clothed men who were standing on both sides of the hall. Their sleeves were tied with white silk scarves, and they looked as if they were prepared to fight. Qingya couldn't help but hold on to Yihua's hand tightly. The entire road leading to the park was filled with men in black. The cars that entered were stopped without permission. Of course, they didn't dare to stop Lord Jiu's car. Basically, it was the reporters. When the reporters saw Lord Jiu's car, they were all excited. Driving all the way up the mountain, the parking lot was filled with all kinds of luxurious cars. The entire garden was divided into 5 areas, and they were even marked. Shen clan, Jia clan, Yu clan, Han clan, Li clan. These 5 families were most likely the most famous families in Long-An City. Of course, there was also Qing family. Unfortunately, in just one afternoon, all the juniors had been killed. Although the murderer had been caught, this was not enough to vent their anger. It was also impossible to let this matter go just like that. As the owner of the clubhouse, Bai family had yet to say anything. When those big shots in front of the morning hall saw that Lord Zhou's car had arrived, they quickly walked over. Lord Zhou really wanted to cry. If this couple wasn't here, how dignified would I be? With them here, I am just like a small follower. Lord Zhou, who was originally sitting at the back of the car, sat on the front passenger seat. After the car stopped, he got off the car first. When everyone saw Lord Zhou getting off the front passenger seat, they were puzzled for a bit, but they didn't think much about it.
Lord Zhou, you have finally come.
Lord Zhou, you have to uphold justice for us. Lord Zhou, that Bai family is bullying us too much. This northerner is already riding on our heads. Lord Zhou, you have to be the judge. What's the rush? Can't you see that I still have to open the car door? Under everyone's astonishment, Lord Zhou personally opened the front passenger seat door. Seeing the woman who got off the car first, everyone was stunned. Although the woman was not dressed that well, it was unable to conceal the beauty that was in her bones. That long t-shirt added a different kind of allure to the woman. Those juniors were all dumbfounded. Why is this woman so beautiful? She is too perfect.
Li Qianni was the family head of Li family. He had a very fat build. Who knows how many layers his chin had?
Why does this woman look so familiar? Li Qianni felt that he had seen her somewhere before. Han Wei was the family head of Han family. He had a slightly fat build. I think so too. Yu family's family head. Yuxi's complexion was very bad. Why would Lord Zhou open the door for a woman? Jia Gao Ao, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, said, "Perhaps she is some big shot." And Shen Tao recognized Qingya with a single look, as if he had seen his savior. He knelt in front of Qingya. "Co Qing, you have to uphold justice for me.
I only have this one daughter. She is usually very obedient, but after not seeing her for a few hours, she has already sent off her daughter."
Everyone was shocked. No wonder she looks familiar. She is actually Qing family's Qingya. How did she become so beautiful?
In actuality, Shen Tao was the most miserable. He got his daughter when he was old, and he doted on her too much. She was the kind of person who was afraid of melting when she was in his mouth and afraid of breaking when she was in his hands.
"Brother, Miao Miao is so pitiful." Shen Shui, that damn fatty, knelt beside Shen Tao and cried very reluctantly. "Brother only has this one child, and now that she has passed away, I might not be able to give birth to another child even if I want to. If that's the case, I can only take advantage of my son in the future. This is truly an accident." Qingya did not expect that Shen Tao would have such a big reaction. She wanted to help Shen Tao up, but Yihua just happened to come out from the car and stop Qingya. "That's right, this is done on purpose. Kneeling down is their honor. Ignoring them is your right." Everyone's gaze landed on Yihua, and discovered that the women of Qing family seemed to be taking this man as their master. This is too mystical, too sudden. Some people recognized Yihua. After all, they had attended the banquet last night and also heard about the gambling house last night. Truly crazy. Gambling all of their family's wealth. I heard that in the end, Xiao family and Tang family left with a black face. "Boss, lady boss, we have arrived." Lord Zhou's heart was bleeding. In the future, if I see them, I will take a detour. The dignified Lord Zhou actually called them boss and lady boss. Just what is going on? Could it be that that man has a special identity? If not, why would Lord Zhou be so respectful? "CEO Shen, the dead cannot come back to life. My condolences," Qingya said in a deep voice.
For a man to cry so pitifully, it could be seen how much pain his heart was in. Yihua did not make any speech. As a man, what does crying count as? If it was my subordinate, I would have given him a slap. "CEO Qing, Lord Zhou, my daughter died in vain, but the murderer that was caught is an idiot. It must be the doing of the Rank 1 club." Shen Tao hammered the cement floor, feeling that everything that happened today was done by family from behind. Chapter 85. Jiuyi took a look at Yihua, and seeing that Yihua did not plan to say anything, Jiuyi patted Yihua's hand. "Let's talk inside. This matter is not a small matter, it can be big or small.
Lord Zhou's words shocked everyone.
Big or small.
What did he mean?
Yi Hua, on the other hand, was hugging on to Qing Ye to prevent her from showing the pity of a woman. Towards Zhou Ye's words, Yi Hua wasn't the slightest bit interested.
Ye Hua, let go of me,
Qing Ye said in a low voice, feeling a little embarrassed.
Yi Hua said faintly, "You have been hugging me for the entire night, and now that I'm hugging you, that's all."
All right, you can go and sleep on the sofa tonight. Why are you so stingy?
There are so many people here.
You can hug me all you want when we get home.
Follow me?
Humph. Don't forget what you said before. In any case, I'm a weak woman. If you want to use force, there's nothing I can do. However, I will despise you.
Qing Ye flipped her hair indifferently. I am so beautiful and sexy. It is inevitable for Yi Hua's beastly heart to burst out when I am hugging on to him at night. She could understand him, but she would also despise him. Yi Hua took a faint look at Qing Ye.
You?
That's for the best.
Remember that look of disdain in your eyes.
In the future, even if you beg me, I won't agree.
Yi Hua took a deep breath.
Do I even need to request anything from you?
Seeing that Yi Hua was angered to the point that he was taking a deep breath, Qing Ye did not continue on.
Right now, she had learned to not go overboard. Raising her small hand, Qing Ye smacked towards Yi Hua's butt.
Yi Hua looked at Qing Ye in disbelief, and after a while he said gravely, "Qing Ye, I will teach you a lesson tonight.
TCH, I won't bow down to evil forces."
You will lower your head.
Yi Hua's right hand tightened, and Qing Ye cried out in surprise, and her entire body fell into Yi Hua's embrace. This bastard, he didn't even know where he was.
Everyone else was sad.
Yi Hua expressed that it was none of my business. "Boss, let's go in and talk," Lord Zhou said in a low voice. If the boss didn't move, he wouldn't dare to move. As for the wealthy businessman behind him, he saw that Lord Zhou didn't move, so he didn't move either. He just watched the couple in front of him being lovey-dovey. Qing Ye wished that she could dig a hole and hide herself. Originally, it was already very awkward for her to come out wearing this set of clothes, but I didn't expect that when I turned around just now, those people would be following behind me.
Everyone was speechless.
Qing family had a great background in Long'an City, and right now, they were even preparing to take root in Zijin City. Although there was still a gap between them and those big families in Zijin City, in any case, they were still able to squeeze into Zijin City. As for this man, he was very mysterious.
He didn't look like a gigolo.
The group arrived at a side room in Clear Harmony Garden. Yi Hua and Qing Ye sat down, and Yi Hua said faintly, "You two can chat." Everyone sat down, and Lord Zhou let out a sigh of relief. "Everyone, I am also very sorry that such a thing happened, but the dead cannot come back to life. Now that the culprit has been caught, everyone's hearts can be appeased. As for the Bai family, in fact, it is not good for you or me if this matter is blown up." Li Qianyi disagreed. "Ninth Master, our children were murdered in the first-class clubhouse, so the Bai family has to take responsibility."
"That's right. Director Li is right."
Jia Gao Ao agreed.
"Lord Zhou, it can't be that you're afraid of the Bai family and that's why you're siding with them, right?"
Yu Yusi asked solemnly.
Lord Zhou said helplessly, "I can understand everyone's feelings. It's fine if you want to pursue the Bai clan's responsibility, but you need some time. You can't be thinking of killing your way over, right? Ninth Master, no matter how powerful the Bai family is or how high their status is, they should give us an explanation for what happened."
Han Wei's face turned cold.
Yi Hua finally understood. These people are afraid of Bai family and want to use Xiao Jiu as cannon fodder. However, how could these little rich merchants have the guts to challenge the Bai family? Although they were standing on the side of reason, it was still unusual. That was how humans were. They schemed against each other and schemed against each other. It was the same even when they were playing games.
"That's right. Do you think we, the South, are afraid of the North?"
Li Qianyi said boldly as if he wanted to start a war with the North. Yi Hua held onto his chin and asked, "Qing Ye, how is this Bai family?" "Bai family is very strong. Especially Bai family's women. The woman that Wang Debao married yesterday is a woman from Bai family," Qing Ye said in a low voice.
"How many wives does Wang Debao have?"
Yi Hua asked.
"Why do you care about that?"
"How many?"
Qing Ye said coldly,
Wang Debao is very single-minded, he only has one wife. This Wang Debao is indeed a bit interesting. Yi Hua said faintly. Which of those who have a bit of strength doesn't have a bunch of wives and concubines? That Xiao Yi, and that Tang Wushuang.
Qingya mumbled. But he dotes on his wife a lot.
You mean that I don't dote on you? Yi Hua asked back.
Qingya put on a straight face. Have you ever doted on me before? Yi Hua could be seen leaning towards Qingya's ear and saying in a low voice, That night, I doted on you a lot.
Scoundrel! Qingya couldn't help but shout out and raised her little fist. Unfortunately, her little fist was grabbed onto by Yi Hua. Everyone present looked towards Yi Hua and Qingya in unison. We are discussing about a big matter, and yet, you two are flirting with each other. This is truly infuriating. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a husband and wife quarrel before? Yi Hua said coldly. Everyone was speechless. You are obviously the one who disturbed us, and yet, you are the one who is complaining first.
Yi Hua, don't be like this.
Qingya said petulantly. After this fellow is done acting cool, I have to clean up after him. Qingya laughed lightly. Everyone, I'm sorry my husband Wu. Before Qingya could finish speaking, Yi Hua covered Qingya's mouth. Is there a need for me to explain? Zhou Yi blushed with shame. The boss is indeed awesome. I am just like this. Yi Hua said faintly, then let go of his hand. Let's see how you are going to smooth things over. Qingya was very angry. Can't you speak properly? It is enough for you to use this kind of tone to talk to me, but to still act like this when going out, you are going to make enemies. Everyone was still unclear of Yi Hua's background. Thus they decided to bide their time. After all, even Zhou Yi had to call him boss. Everyone, I am late.
A man who was wearing a green gown could be seen walking over slowly, and behind him was a young man who was also wearing a green gown and carrying a long sword on his back. If Qing Yutong was here, she would definitely recognize this green gown man. He was that Dao defender who beat the dog until it vomited blood.
Deacon Jian, you are finally here. Everyone hurriedly stood up and greeted.
This Deacon Jian is incredible. I heard that he is the deacon of a certain sect in the cultivation world, and also the contact person of Longan City.
Deacon Jian, why were you tied up in the park this morning? Jia Gaoao really touched on the sore spot.
Jian Yuan's face sunk, then he laughed and said, Something went wrong when I was training yesterday, causing my power to be greatly damaged, and I also met with a ferocious beast.
You are the dog abuser who was tied up on the tree this morning? Qingya asked curiously, but after asking, she immediately regretted it. This is very rude.
The air instantly froze. Jian Yuan's face turned white and red, and even the small cultivator who was following behind him felt embarrassed.
Qingya, how can you speak like that? He is a cultivator. Yi Hua said calmly.
Qingya was shocked. Ah, he is even a cultivator.
Yi Hua laughed. Jian Yuan was about to bleed internally.
Everyone was already scared out of their wits.
Zhou Yi was convinced, this husband and wife are really good at slandering people. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.